There, that maybe, yes,
Yeah, we got it.
yeah.
Yay! All
All
right.
right, we did it. Welcome to Talking Heads, everyone. Episode 385, your once-weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
And I am Steve.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining on this Wednesday night or in podcast form over on Spotify or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, we talk tech, we talk games, pop culture, entertainment, sometimes some Star Trek. All super chats are read on the air so long as they will not permanently demonetize the channel. We do drink alcohol on the show, and if you're drinking along with us, alcoholic or not, let us know in the chat and we'll give some early show shoutouts as we go along. Last but not least, if you'd like to take part in the super secret chat and the even more super secret after party, think about joining the Patreon. Link is down in the video description. As a bonus, you'll get exclusive access to my Discord server where you can chat with myself, John, Rhett, even Steve.
Me, I'm there.
And join the awesome community that hangs out over there. Welcome to the show, everyone. Steve, how are you doing, sir?
I am doing good. I'm feeling pretty good. I got back from like a 2-week vacation in Southern California. Got some nice sun. Got to hang out on the beach for like a couple days. It's
nice.
Pretty awesome. Yeah.
I'm a little jealous. Yeah, I mean, I did just go to Taipei, but that was kind of like a working trip.
Right. Yeah. No, this was definitely relaxing.
Yeah.
Do nothing.
Yeah, I will say, Rhett and I talked about this a little bit, and I'm sure it'll come up in conversation again next time he's on. But the last couple of events that I've done, so you went to CES with me, and then Rhett just did Taipei with me. I've been trying to do some very laid back stuff, like not busting my butt trying to do like 30 videos and things like that. Yeah. And that's been kind of nice.
It has been.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how I want to do shows from now on, is more the wrap-up style videos, although it'd also be nice to be able to crank out a bunch of content that week too. So it's like, while you're there, might as well. Like, you're
also competing with a lot of other people that are basically reporting on the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
You're a small crew. It's very hard for you to get stuff out before everybody else. So
yeah, it's either I break for dinner or I edit video. Right. and yeah, unless you have someone like dedicated to editing video, or you can sling it somewhere for someone else to edit, which is something I might explore. Maybe I'll pay for a video editing service next show, and we'll just see how that goes. But last couple shows have been kind of nice. Like CES and Computex, obviously always busy.
Yes, always busy.
But we actually had like 2 days where we just kind of got to walk around, try some food, do some touristy stuff. Like, so it was, that's cool. It was very busy, but it was also like very fun. Yeah. So, and you know, I actually came back kind of refreshed and in good health.
Well, so. I mean, I was a little jealous because I would have liked to have gone. I'd like to go to Taipei mainly for the street food, like that.
Oh, yeah.
It looked fabulous. Every time I see pictures, I'm like, oh, I think I'd come back like 5 pounds heavier just because I want to try that. I want to try that.
There was so much to try. I managed to maintain weight, and that's all I will say. So, but yeah, no. Heck of a fun trip. Definitely going to do it again next year. In fact, next year I might extend it by a couple of days and see how that goes. So anyway, let's go ahead and get the show started. Sure. Steve, what do you got up on your tap wall tonight?
Okay, well, first off, this is like 3-4 years in a row running I've drank a version of this on Talking Heads, and that is the three-way IPA, which is three-way. It's a see-through IPA actually right now because it's a green can. If you guys didn't notice, but yeah, the three-way IPA just came out.
Nice.
And I think last week maybe it was a little hard to find actually because it was so new.
Yeah.
And I believe it's because three-way IPA is every year Fort George collaborates with 2 other breweries, so it's 3 breweries altogether. That's what they call it, three-way.
Yep.
And I think this is Sun River Brewing.
Oh,
and who else? I forgot who else it was. There was another one. I want to say Ruse but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, so Sun River Brewing is over by Bend, Oregon.
Correct.
It's just south of Bend, so if you know all of the Big Bend breweries that are in Oregon, kind of Oregon brew mecca over there, Sun River is just 20 miles south of that.
Yeah.
And
they got pretty good stuff by their own right.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, it's Mirage Brewing.
Mirage Brewing. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
And for my second beer, actually, it's probably gonna be first. I think I'm gonna start out with this one.
Okay.
Because I was looking in my cellar for the area where I cellar my beer. I don't have a cellar, but where I cellar my beer, which is under my bar. And I was like looking in the back, and I saw this bottle, and it's been sitting there for a long time. I have no idea what it is. There's no label on it. It's I think it's a homebrew. It's not a homebrew I made.
With because the friends that we have, like that could literally be anything.
Yes, it could be anybody. We've had
it could be anything from anybody.
Yes. So I have no idea what this beer is. I'm going in blind. Nice. Hopefully it doesn't explode. I was gonna bring a towel just in case it exploded, but I forgot to grab one. So we're doing full risk here.
All right.
Gonna be an adventure.
Oh, cool.
Adventures in tasting.
Well, I want to see you open this. Like, I don't even want to introduce mine. I just want to.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, let's give this a shot here.
Because I mean, mine's just a beer. Yours could be anything. Yours could even be a beer. You know how much we wanted one of those.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear any psst or anything like that.
Okay.
Smells fruity.
Oh God, are there chunks of strawberry in this one?
Oh, I don't think John ever used these type of bottles either.
No, I don't remember. Yeah.
It smells okay.
All right.
It doesn't. It's got a little bit of carbonation.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah. A little deep red color to it. It looks like.
Yeah.
Deep caramel.
So it's probably some kind of berry or something like that. It smells kind of like a sour.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely a sour. Or it went bad. I don't know.
It's a sour now.
Yeah, it's a sour now. No, it tastes like a almost like a lambic.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. No, it's not bad.
Interesting. Yeah.
I can drink this. wasn't anything too crazy.
I love it when you guys risk scurvy for my enjoyment. It's just so much fun. I've got a couple of beers that could not be any more different. Number one, I know what they are. And number two, we're going with two just wildly different styles. Starting with, I have from Trapdoor Brewing in Washougal, Washington.
Mm-hmm. I've been to Trapdoor.
Sativa Fiva.
Mm-hmm.
With the Kush van on the side.
Yeah.
And heady and hoppy is what it says. 7% West Coast IPA. I expect some pretty bold flavors out of this. This one, I'm 99% sure was from my Secret Santa package this last year. So every year on the Craft Computing Discord, we do a beer Secret Santa. And I'm pretty sure this came from my Secret Santa, which is Skull, which is one of the moderators in chat.
Yeah.
So take a bow, Skull, because this is going to be amazing. This is from Revolution Brewing out of Chicago, or Chicago area. This is the Deepwood Series Rye to Heaven.
Mm-hmm.
This is a rye ale aged in rye bourbon barrels, which is kind of a misnomer. So rye is typically only used as straight rye or a rye whiskey, not rye bourbon. But this actually says rye bourbon. So who knows? Yep. The really fun part about this one is I had a bottle of wine last week that wasn't this strong. This is 15%.
Yes. There's no slouch there.
Yeah. So we're going to set that one aside. We're going to let that one warm up for the first half of the show. And we're going to go with the Sativa Fiva.
Yeah, that sounds like a good one to start.
Oh my God.
Does it smell like a dispensary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whew.
That's what was the one that I had? It comes out on 420.
Waldo's?
Not Waldo's, the other one. That one, it's
There's Elysian Dank Dust.
Not Dink Dust. It was. Oh, maybe it was. No, it wasn't Dink Dust. Or was it Dink Dust? Yeah, I think it was Elysians. Yeah, it was Elysians.
Yeah, Elysian does their Dank
That
Dust.
one. That one. The Dank Dust is that one really
remarkably
really
clear.
Like yeah.
For what this beer is. Like typically the dank ones are just a little bit cloudy and foggy. But...
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. I did see from Wolf says good evening from Clearwater, Florida. Non-alcoholic tonight per Doc's orders, but enjoying a nice glass of orange juice. I love a good glass of orange juice.
Yeah, right in the morning is perfect.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Quick question. Recently built myself my first new rig in years. Loaded it with a Ryzen 9700X, 64 gig DDR5, 1 terabyte NVMe, 3058 gig. Very solid build. I saw 5068 gigabyte for $3 or for $300. Is it worth the upgrade or go for more VRAM? Depends on your resolution. If you are simply a 1080p gamer and simply looking for a pretty decent 1080p experience, like 1080p Ultra, don't even care about anything else, you're going to have like 5 games that are going to struggle. Like Doom the Dark Ages, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, gosh, what else? Indiana Jones. Very few games are going to not be able to run at Ultra at least between 60 to 90 FPS at 1080p. And if you set it to high settings, everything's going to run at 120 anyway. And the memory won't be an issue. So $300 for a 5068 gig. I'm in the minority. I think that's a pretty decent deal. It's not the most future-proof card, but it's one of the most affordable cards that you can get today. That's still higher performance than a lot of other cards that are, it's not 4070 level performance, but 4070 is still $500 if you can find one.
Yeah.
So it's the cheapest of the okay value that we have out there right now. And actually, we're going to talk a little bit more about value propositions and things that are out there right now, probably about half hour or so. So stay tuned for that. But like I said, I ran a 3058 gig in my primary gaming rig for a year and a half, 2 years, and played every game that I wanted, most of them at 1440p.
Yeah.
Oh no, I had to set most of my games to high settings, and I was gaming at like 80 to 90 FPS.
Oh no. Such a hard knock life you got.
Solid experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even the worst graphics cards still can play pretty much every game. So take that for what it's worth. Let's see. Jason says letting his Dragon's Milk warm up a bit.
Good.
Excellent.
Dragon's Milk's awesome.
Charles just bought an MSI Claw 8 AI Plus. That's the Arrow Lake handheld. I've only tried the Arrow Lake handhelds at the trade shows, so Computex and CES. I haven't really actually gotten some hands-on experience with it yet. I want to run through its paces. I would love to see how it does, both performance-wise and efficiency-wise, because AMD's been kind of the talk of the town when it comes to mobiles and handhelds, and I'd like to see how Team Blue is doing firsthand. Let's see. Rev cracking into a Bourbon County brand stout, Macaroon Stout 2024.
Macaroon Stout. Wow.
14.6% and a 4.27 out of 5 on Untapped.
Wow. See, I had my Goose Island. I thought about cracking that one open tonight until I saw my mystery beer, and I thought that would be more fun. But I was a hair's breadth from getting a Goose Island one too.
I did spy the Goose Island in my fridge as well. I've got a couple BCSs in there. Novella Trinity Brewhouse, Tommy's Red Ale, 5.9%.
Nice.
Solid. Harley's got a Crystal Light. Nothing wrong with that.
In a long time.
Nothing wrong with that.
I didn't know they still made those. That was a big thing in like the 80s and the 90s. Crystal Light was.
Yeah. You had those little tiny powder cups, right?
Yeah.
I
did not know that was still around.
What's funny is I read it without even thinking of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, Crystal Light, of course. Wait, when's the last? It's been 20 years since I've seen Crystal Light.
They still have it at Walmart. I just looked it up. Yeah.
I'll be dang. Okay.
I still remember the jingle. I believe in Crystal Light because I believe in me. That was the jingle back in the 90s.
Back in 95. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, my household was always full of Crystal Light. My parents both drink diet soda exclusively, and so any like sometimes we got 100% juice, but most of the time we got the frozen concentrate juices. That were like primarily sugar free. We got Crystal Light, and we had like Diet Pepsi. Or sorry,
Diet something.
Diet Safeway Select.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm very familiar with Crystal Light.
Yeah.
Cyano is also alcohol free for the night, having a coffee so that he can work on his new project.
Coffee is good.
Or on their new project, rather. Let's see. Anyone else before we dive into it?
Let's see. The Bee's Knees. Tonight I'm enjoying a Wicked Weed Brewing Imperial Perenni Haze. Yeah, 9.1. No slouch. Yeah. Nice.
Coffee and Cynicism's got a triple dry hop Vapor Rings from Other Half Brewing. 4.4 on Untapped.
Wow.
Oh,
that's high for an IPA.
Wow. I don't know if I've ever seen an IPA that high. To be perfectly honest,
maybe some like
usually 4.1s, 4.15 is kind of where, because not everyone likes IPAs, and so you get the people that go like, it's an IPA, 1 star.
Yeah.
Number one, screw those people, because that's not the way you should be voting. You should be voting whether or not the beer is good, not whether or not you like beer.
That style. Yeah.
Why
would you Why would you get a style that you don't like and then just be like, this is crap?
This is crap. Yeah. I don't like saisons. I don't buy saisons, and if I do get them, I don't rate them.
Right. No, I mean, like, even with domestic beers, which I don't like that much.
Mm-hmm.
Or just lagers in general. I mean, I don't mind lagers, but that's not my go-to. I'll try to rate them and how well I think they're done.
Yeah.
Even though I really don't like them that much.
Yeah. Michael's taking a wild leap on a double chance double IPA. 8%. Another 4.12 IPA on Untapped.
I've seen quite a few like fours, like low fours on for IPAs. But like 4.5, that's rare. I don't see that.
That's rare
often.
For any beer, let alone. And I like usually that's reserved for like the
bourbon barrel aged.
That's your
beers,
thick pastry stouts. Yeah. That's your insanely malty reds.
Yeah.
You can get some of those up there. Your ESBs and things like that, but IPAs usually top out at like 3.9.
Right.
So I'm really shocked by not one, but two, almost at 4.2 and higher. Like, that's insane.
I think Great Notion has a few IPAs that are kind of that high.
Yeah.
On average. But like their the overripe and stuff like that. I think those are pretty high. No, that's only 4.2. Overripe's only 4.2.
Okay. Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Novella says, Jeff did have Burger King in Taipei. I did have Burger King in Taipei. I had Burger King, I had McDonald's, I had Domino's in Taipei.
Was it called a quarter pounder?
It was not called a quarter pounder. It was a Whopper.
It was a Whopper. It was like, McDonald's had a Whopper? No, I was talking about McDonald's.
No, Burger King had a Whopper.
And it was called a Whopper.
And so I got a Whopper. I wanted to try like for like. Like I didn't want to go like Burger King had sausage Whoppers.
Oh, that's interesting.
Literally, a big Whopper patty, quarter pound patty, with like a sausage on top of it.
Huh.
Like a sausage dog on top. Oh,
like a sausage dog.
Like a dog.
I thought you meant like a sausage patty.
No, not like a ground sausage patty. Like a sausage dog on top of a quarter pound patty.
Wow.
And I didn't try that. I'm going to next time. But I will tell you, the quality of beef over there, far exceeds what we get here.
Oh yeah. Well, they're closer to like
they're closer
Japan,
to Japan and things like that.
The Wagyu.
Yeah. I was actually telling my father-in-law, it was really funny. So we walked into this grocery store that's at the bottom of Taipei 101, And they had like a deli counter and a meat section and things like that. And we got some beers and some provisions for the week there. But you walk up to their meat counter, and they had the packaged steaks like you would buy here. And I'm like, oh, what's, like a ribeye or what's like a good cut of steak? Because they'll also make it for you there. Like you can order the steak.
You just say,
they'll just take it and fry it up for you, and then
Nice.
hand it to you. And so that was pretty cool. And I think I'm going to try that next time too. But they had Wagyu steaks.
Yeah.
The way that I would buy like a $30 ribeye for between $20 and $30.
Wow. Was it A5 Wagyu
Yeah.
or you don't know?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like that's like $120 steak here.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, that
20,
is.
25,
That's,
$30.
That's like
US.
that's $100 steak here, raw and uncooked.
Right.
Not buying one.
Right.
Yes.
No. And it was like $5 or $10 to cook it. So
Wow.
yeah.
Heck yeah, dude.
But I got a Burger King double Whopper less than an hour before we had Din Tai Fung dumplings, and we went all out for dumplings as well. And so I was stuffed that day. We also got pizza we also had Domino's that night.
Oh, you had Domino's. Did they have any like weird toppings? Because I know like
I just wanted to try it, and so their American pizza was pepperoni.
Yeah, of course.
And I will say, they do it a little bit differently, where the toppings are underneath, and then the whole layer of cheese goes on top.
Oh yeah, I've seen some pizza places do it like that.
Yeah. And there's a huge difference between our breads, between any bread product. The bread over there tends to be fairly flavorless and a little bit sweeter. And so you don't get the rye and like the flavors of bread. You just kind of get like a mouthful of air.
Of chewiness.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not bad. It's just very different. But on the pizza, it was especially noticeable. Like the pepperoni pizza was pretty good. Pepperoni, almost exactly like the pepperoni that we get here. Okay. We also got a Hawaiian pizza. I did not like the Hawaiian pizza. The sauce was different. It didn't blend well or didn't complement the crust at all. They didn't oil their crust, and so, but they still put like the garlic seasoning salts on top. Yep. So all the seasoning salt just kind of fell off the crust.
Fell off of it, yeah.
And the garlic salt didn't blend well with the rest of the pizza anyway. The crust itself was a little drier because they didn't oil it. And then there was something else different about it too, and like the whole thing just like, where I love Hawaiian pizza, where everything just kind of complements everything, and the pizza over there from Domino's, it all fell apart. The pineapple wasn't good with the tomatoes, and the tomatoes wasn't good with the cheese, and the cheese wasn't good with the bread, and
I wonder if it's just not a popular topping combo for them over there. Maybe they just have it because it's Domino's, but it's not really popular. I guess, I don't know. That's too bad though.
Yeah. So had a good first go around with foods over there. Did a lot of comparison stuff. Also did a lot of local stuff. And I think next year we'll not do so many comparisons. Instead, we'll try to dive a little further in. Like, I've had fried squid before. Like, it's not a foreign
calamari.
thing.
It's good stuff.
So I think next year I'm gonna try to get some fried squid, and maybe we'll go for some Wagyu, and we'll go around the palate a little bit more next time around.
Right.
Who knows? Maybe next time we'll take 3 people on the craft computing crew.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think it's about that time we finally dive into the news.
Yeah, I know, right? Only a half hour later.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we need to start doing, is start doing like a 30-minute pre-show, and then and then we hit go, and on the word go we do the news. Maybe that's the way to change up. Like, I've been looking for a way to change up the show. Anyway, AMD RX 9060 XT benchmarks went live today, and man, if ever there was an opportunity for AMD to take the torch and just freaking run with it, this was the time, with Nvidia leaving the door wide open with the whole 5060 Ti and 5060 controversy of 8 gigabytes is not enough and overpriced and underperforming. In fact, the 5060 can't even beat the 4060 Ti in a lot of benchmarks. You know, it's leaving a lot of people wanting more. Well, we got the 9060 XT. It performs quite favorably to not only the 5060, but the 5060 Ti. It is less expensive than both. But AMD sought fit to only seed 16 gigabyte cards to reviewers.
Yeah.
Pulling the exact same move that Nvidia did just 2 weeks ago. And it's kind of hard to evaluate cards that we don't have.
Yep.
And I am of two very different mindsets about this whole situation. So, obviously, the 9060 XT, 16 gig, $350. If you can find that card for that money, it's one of the best values that we've had in a long time, as far as a lot of reviews go. Over the 7600 XT, upwards of 30 to 45% improvement generationally. And in fact, this is trading blows with the 5060 Ti, and in fact, beating it in a lot of circumstances. The 5060 Ti coming in at what, $449, I want to say. So this is an AMD card that is hitting well above its weight and is very much like what AMD likes to do with a lot of their cards, is price them, you know, find one segment of the market and just crush it. And so for that, I think it's probably a solid deal. There's a huge segment of the community, and myself is of two minds of this, that thinks there should be no cards shipped with 8 gigabyte in this day and age.
Not anymore.
Right. Not only did AMD see fit to not seed reviewers, even global reviewers like YouTubers, because as LTT pointed out in their video this morning, yeah, we may be Canada, you know, North America regional as far as where we're located at, but I have viewers all over the world. You could sound off in chat tonight and probably get 15 different countries.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, people are all over, and we as YouTubers attract global audiences. And so even if a 16 gig card makes more sense in the North American market for that, the 8 gigabyte card, if you launch it, people are still going to be interested. And if you're selling the 8 gigabyte card in North America, we should still be able to review that card.
Oh yeah, especially for people looking for budget builds, right?
It's $50 less.
$50 less. So that's gonna, if it's gonna fit the bill, they want to know what the performance is.
Jay says, I'm in the Republic of Texas, so yes.
Yeah.
Florida is definitely a different country, yes. But no, like in Talking Heads, I've had people sound off from South Korea and Brazil and Japan and India and Spain and Germany and UK and all over the globe. So yeah, we do attract a global audience. And saying you're not going to seed reviewers cards because, oh, you're in the North American region, that's just stupid. You know what you're doing. Yeah. It's an excuse to not seed cards that you know will be reviewed unfavorably. I am of two different minds of the 8 gigabyte controversy. I alluded to this at the beginning of the episode when I answered Wolf's question about should I buy the 5060 8 gigabyte card for $300. There's going to be a whole horde of gamers and a whole horde of reviewers that say the 8 gigabyte card shouldn't exist. You're going to waste your money and it's stupid, and spend the extra $80 and get 16 gigs.
Yeah. And
in some regards, they're right. They're absolutely right. However, in other regards, that's a 35% price increase.
Yeah.
$85, that's a lot of money to to a budget gamer, to someone who's looking at a $300 card. Oh, just spend $400 and you'll be happier. Yeah, that makes a lot of value sense. But $400 is still $400 versus $300 is only $300. You know, we get so number savvy as reviewers that we go, what's the best value card right now? Well, the most frames per dollar that you can get is in the 5070 Ti for $849, and every other card that exists is a terrible value. Well, what if I only have $300? Can I play games
what are you
still?
Get then? Yeah.
Like, so there's another half to this conversation that never takes place.
Oh yeah.
And that's
people have budgets, and they want to stick to those budgets.
Right. And so, yeah, it's frustrating for me as someone who lived the majority of my life as a very budget conscious gamer. You know, yes, I have access to high end cards now, but even before I started the channel, like right up until the point that I started the channel, I can't tell you the last time I had a flagship card.
I've never had a flagship card. I always go for the more conscious good deal.
I had one once. And this was purely circumstance that I had this. So right after the channel launched, I went out and I bought a GTX 1080 used.
Yeah. So
and I wanted that as my home gaming rig, and I wanted to water cool it. And that replaced an RX 480 that I had. So $260 card.
Yeah.
But that was also in a X99 MSI X99 motherboard, but with an engineering sample Xeon. So like, I've always lived this life, okay? This is not just some personality I'm throwing on YouTube. Like, this has always been how I've built computers. But I bought a GTX 1080, and it was right after the 1080 Ti had come out. This was early 2017. And I'm like, I'm happy. I finally got the baller card.
Right.
Like, this is cool. 10 years prior to that, so 2007, I won a contest. I won a drawing. Microsoft, as part of a giveaway for Games for Windows Live.
Oh, Games for Windows Live. I remember that, Travis.
Microsoft was holding a weekly drawing that if you logged in and you played, get this, Fallout 3.
Oh, wow.
And you logged into Games for Windows Live, and you logged any amount of time within that game, you would be entered for that day. And at the end of every week, you would have, you know, if you played every day, you'd have 7 tickets in that week's drawing, and they'd pick you out. And a lot of the prizes were like, you know, $100 gift card to Best Buy, and you know, 3 free games or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
And this was in like November, December of like 2007, I want to say. Maybe 2008. I think it was 2008. Fast forward to like February, and I get a really weird email to the email address that was associated with my Games for Windows Live account. And I didn't even know the contest was going on. But that was the email that I used to log into Games for Windows Live, and that was the only purpose of it.
Right.
And I'm like, what's this weird email that popped up on my phone? So I open it up, and it was congratulations. I'm like, oh, this is bullshit.
Yeah, I know.
You've won our grand prize drawing for the week of blah, blah, blah. So I looked up this company name, and the company was a promotional sweepstakes company, and it was legitimately their domain name.
Right.
And they do promotions for companies. And it said, you've won our grand prize for the week of blah, blah, blah for Games for Windows Live. And I went, okay, what did I win? An Alienware M17X Nehalem-powered laptop with SLI'd Nvidia 9800 graphics cards.
Whoa.
Laptop. Okay?
Wow.
$4,000 laptop.
Yeah, $4,000 laptop.
Right. 8 times the gaming rig that I was running that day. Like holy crap. My gaming machine in that day was still on an AGP graphics card.
Oh man, okay.
I was on a 2400 XT AMD or ATI graphics card
before it was AMD.
Yeah, still AGP because I couldn't afford a PCI Express motherboard.
Yeah.
And out of the blue, I win a $4,000 gaming laptop. So what did I do? I
sold it.
Received the laptop. I opened it up and I turned it on and I went, that's really pretty. And then I closed the lid and I took pictures of it and I sold it on eBay.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you know this, but you pay 30% in taxes on winnings. As nice as that laptop was, I didn't have $1,300 to my name, let alone to spend on a laptop, no matter how nice the laptop is.
Right.
So I sold the laptop, took the cash from that, paid my taxes with it, and then built myself a $2,500 desktop.
And back then, that's a killer rig too.
Right.
$2,500. That's a killer rig.
That was my X58. So I've actually featured this system on the channel before. That was my X58. It was a Core i7 920. Had 12 gigs of DDR3 tri-channel memory. Had dual 9800 XT graphics cards, XTX graphics cards.
XTX, yeah.
9800 GTX Plus. Excuse me, 9800 GTX Plus.
Yeah.
From XFX, back when XFX made
still did
graphics cards
video
for
cards,
Nvidia. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had that killer rig. But beyond that, like I had always rolled pennies for my gaming rigs, and even 5 years after that, I was still rolling pennies again for gaming rigs.
Yeah.
The M17X R2 weighed 11.68 pounds. It was every bit of it.
That's a beast.
It was mobile workstation replacement. Yeah.
Oh man. And I think wasn't that because 2008 was that before Alienware was bought out by Dell, or was that at the same time?
In the midst of, I believe.
Okay, because Alienware's been Dell for a long time.
Long time.
Yeah.
I think that might have been just after the transition.
Okay. Yeah,
I think that might have happened in 2006. 2007, something like that.
Yeah, 2006, March 22nd, 2006. Yeah.
Nailed it. So yeah, like, but other than that, I've always been a budget gamer.
Yeah.
And even today, like, yeah, I have a 5090. I think it's out in my garage. Because I don't want to blast 600 watts of heat into this room. Like I have other things that I think about other than frames go burr.
Yeah.
Even though I have the hardware. And so this obsession with you have to game at ultra settings, and it has to have 90 frames per second, and it has to be a good value, and it has to have the absolute maximum performance ever, regardless of your budget, it's always rubbed me the wrong way. And I've said this a couple of times publicly, and I've done a couple of videos on it publicly, but every time it comes up, it's just, God, there's so many other things that people think about.
Yeah.
Other than frame go higher.
I know. I'm pretty much just like you. Always budget conscious. Try to get, I'll build my PC, which I think is going to be the most bang for my buck.
Yeah.
Which is never going to be top of the line, right? It's going to be just like a little mid-range, a little higher than mid-range or something like that. And I'll budget on that. I'll save up for that. And that's what I'll get.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually that's the system that's going to last me the longest. And it's going to higher resolutions will be fine. Newer games, it'll be fine. It'll last me at least a good 5-6 years.
Right.
Easily. If I spend buco bucks to get top of the line everything, okay, that might last me 7 years.
Yeah.
Maybe an extra 1 year. But I'm paying so much extra for that. And I don't need to. And it kind of hurts, when you do that.
Yeah.
It's just bragging rights for the most part. Is it cool? Yep. Are you going faster than everybody else? Yep. But in the end, like you're right, it doesn't really matter.
But there's so much more to the conversation than just raw performance.
Yeah.
half the time, if I gave you a game at medium settings and then turned it to ultra, some games you can tell a difference.
You can tell. Some you wouldn't.
Some are very obvious.
And some games that are fun are not made to look hyper realistic and have this high performance games. You don't. What if your favorite game is like Stardew Valley? You don't need a high-end game to play those things.
And we've talked about this before. Like, go look at the games that people are actually playing from SteamDB and look at like the 24-hour player counts.
Yeah,
you've got to go 20 down on the list before you find a game that even comes close to stressing a 5068 gig.
Oh yeah. You still got people playing Counter-Strike 2 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the most popular game in the world still right now, I think, is Minecraft, right?
Yeah, Minecraft, Counter-Strike 2,
Counter-Strike 2,
League of Legends, all those are up there.
Yeah, the ones that do not require huge amounts of power to push.
Yeah. So, while I absolutely agree from a raw performance standpoint with a lot of people about 8 gigabytes is not enough today, we're still talking about an $85 to $100 difference between a 5068 gig and a 5060 16 gig. We're still talking about minimum $50 difference between a 9060 XT 8 gig and a 9060 XT 16 gig. That's a significant chunk of that buying decision.
Yeah.
It's not like, I was already going to spend $900. I might as well spend $950 and double my memory. It's not that conversation. This is $300 versus $400. That's 35% of your purchase price.
Yeah. That's a big jump.
That's significant. Yeah. You make that decision 3 times on your rig. You go from a $650 rig to a $1,000 rig.
Yeah.
Like it happens that quick. And listening to the talking heads, not these talking heads, but a lot of reviewers, it's like you'd think that frames was the only thing that mattered when it came to gaming.
Yeah.
Not power, not acoustics, not looks of a graphics card. How well does it fit the build of my case that I want to look nice and present nice, and I want the color to match and everything else. Not does it fit in the case that I want, not, nope, just raw performance.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only reason anyone plays games, is just watch the frame counter go higher.
I don't even have, like, once in a while, if I feel that there's a kind of a performance hitch happening, I'll turn on the frame counter just to see if something's tanking somewhere.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I turn it off. I don't even look at it.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yep. Yeah. So, while I do agree, AMD should have seeded 8 gigabyte cards. Consumers, you deserve an answer for what is the performance like on these GPUs? What is the value proposition between an 8 gig and a 16 gig card, both in games today and potentially for future viability? However, as I'll just straight up say this. Not being seeded 8 gigabyte cards because AMD and Nvidia knew the reviewers were going to shit all over them is the bed that those reviewers have made themselves.
Yep.
For shitting on every single card as not being up to their standards. And not thinking about anything but raw performance numbers.
Yeah.
This is an environment, a hostile environment that I feel the company should still be playing ball with us. AMD, Nvidia, Intel, you should also be playing ball with us. Because we are the consumer advocates. We are the ones who recommend your products.
Yeah.
And if you don't give us the whole story, we can't give the whole story to consumers, and so we have to conjecture and we have to say we can't recommend this. Anyway, but this whole situation is also spurned out of, for the last 8 years, we've hated every graphics card that's ever crossed our desks. So, yeah, of course AMD doesn't want to play our game anymore. What? Not Jeff with a nuanced opinion and thinking about a lot of different things. Just saying. Yeah. Cosworth, blame Jeff for tipping me over on the FV43U monitor. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, you've seen my monitor.
Yes.
Yeah, like, but even that monitor, 43-inch, 4K, 144 hertz, HDR10. I ran a 5080 in there. I didn't put the 5090 in there.
Right.
Because I still didn't want 600 watts of heat just blasting the side of my face.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
maybe in the wintertime when it gets cold.
So even spending $1,200 on a monitor,
yeah,
I still made a concession in sake of performance. Because I like my office a little quieter and a little colder.
Yeah. There's other use cases, other reasons people want to buy stuff besides just pure raw.
And guess what?
FPS.
I turn on DLSS and frame gen all frickin' day long.
Yeah, it still looks good.
And I'm happy.
Yeah.
I don't care who knows it. Cosworth Sons over $5. Thank you so much, FV43U twinsies. Only one game has singularly made me upgrade, and that was so I could spread Democracy at 4K 120 FPS on 43 inches using a nice keyboard and mouse. Yes.
There's another one from Cos before that. Yeah.
Yep. What I want, AMD low-profile single slot with transcode speed. I currently have a W5500 Radeon Pro in my server. In fact, I have the full review and tutorial written up for gaming on that card inside of Proxmox. So probably Friday, I think that'll come out. So stay tuned for that. It doesn't have AV1 encoding, but it does do X265, H.264, and is a pretty solid little card. And I got it for $90, which is freaking awesome.
$90 is cheap. Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, there's a fun video coming out on that particular card. Don sends over $10. Thank you very much, Don. This year is the first year in history where social media spending in advertising eclipsed traditional media. If they're not on board yet, they're behind the data. No, the companies that we work with have been fully on board supporting YouTubers and social media and influencers. And like influencer marketing has been where the majority of money for consumers has gone for many years. Enterprise is still very much in print media, in old school,
right,
newspaper articles, written form, etc.
Probably targeted websites too. I'm guessing.
Yeah. But this year especially, I am noticing an uptick in interest from enterprise companies in working with me. I think I've said this publicly already, but I have a number of videos from Supermicro coming out that we filmed at Computex. Supermicro was my sponsor for Computex. And it's taken a little while to get the videos approved, but we're kind of like in the last stages. So hopefully, actually starting tomorrow, we'll finally get to see my coverage from Computex. There's been a number of other companies that have reached out and expressed interest in continuing relationships and having some financial backing for the channel as well, which has been awesome to see. I've been wanting to lean a little bit more enterprise for quite a while, both home lab and enterprise, like serve both of those markets. And I'm starting to get some buy-in from enterprise companies, because when you hear social media and social media influencer, which is where I'm categorized, and that sucks because that's not really what I think I am.
Yeah.
But yes, that's also what I am. It's really funny because they'll go, "We'd love to work with you, and we know you've covered enterprise stuff before, but we really don't do anything with home lab." And I have to look at these companies and I go, "Who do you think runs home labs?"
Yeah.
And they go, "Well, I don't know. Who does run home labs?" I went, the people
IT
who work in enterprise, who are so passionate about this crap that they bring it home and play with it on the weekends.
Yeah.
And as soon as that light bulb turns on, they go, "Oh, yeah, this is how you reach those people, is by taking the really fancy stuff that they play with at work and showing them something fun to do with it at home." Because they're going to take that fun home experiment and they're going to take it back to work with them. and then their work is going to spend $300,000 implementing that.
Yep.
That's how this works. We use Home Lab to make enterprise concepts accessible and relatable and understandable so anyone can get into it. But also, there's decision makers within this crowd.
Oh, yeah. That's the exact type of people that are watching this show, like a lot of IT professionals.
I know so many CTOs, higher-ups, decision makers for lots of different companies who watch this channel. And yeah, that's absolutely what it is. Like, some people, they don't work in IT at all. They just enjoy, you know, running a Plex server at home, and they want to learn how to do that. But they stick around because that stuff's still interesting. But there's a crossover with the people who are actually IT professionals. I was an IT professional who ran a home lab at home. Yeah. And a lot
you had buying power. You had buying power at your company.
I operated a $1.4 million budget. Like, wasn't the largest budget when you consider like large business and things like that, but I wasn't exactly small potatoes either.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know, we've absolutely made $600,000 single rack purchases before. Or, you know, 2-3 rack purchases for data center and storage rollouts and backups and things like that. And guess who got those contracts? The people who were on social media, the people who were investing into Linus Tech Tips and showing things off. Guess what solutions we went with? Frickin', you know, 45 drives and TrueNAS and solutions like that. Solutions that were made accessible by social media influencers. Yeah. Old Poi says, Kraft, I see you as a tech educator. Your guides are not influence. They were essential, so it's like a public service. It's a little bit of both. Because even though I'm showing you a guide on how to do things, I'm still giving you my opinion on how things should be done. And even down to the hardware that I think they should be done with. And so even that level of education and even the level of nuance that I approach a lot of different subjects with, I still impart influence regardless of how impartial I try to be.
Yeah. And which beers to pair it with.
Exactly.
Yeah. You got it. Oh, I think I'm done with my sour. This was like a really sour. This was a soury sour. I hope it hasn't gone bad. I mean, my stomach doesn't feel like it's going to explode, so I think it was okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm just about done with this one.
Okay.
Let me just say, there is very little difference between these two smells.
Is it really? No, I know. Like I said, the dank dust. It's like you like sniffing a dispensary.
This outdoes dank dust.
Yeah.
This outshoots dank dust.
Does it really? Because dank dust is pretty danky. It's like really
I cracked the can. I hadn't even fully opened it. I went, oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is.
It was that quick. Yeah. And I'm sure my entire room smells now. But the flavor is even more intense. Like,
is it really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very dry too.
Ooh, yeah. So you got some kind of astringency to it.
Yeah. Very, very lupulin, very oily. Yeah, there's all those flavors coming forward.
Yeah, I guess you have to like that flavor, and not everybody likes that flavor.
I do like that flavor.
I do too. Yeah. I do too.
Cosworth says Jeff isn't an influencer. He's a good idea fairy. You know how I know I'm an influencer? Is with 10 words or a quick post to social media, I can eradicate the supply of an item on eBay.
Yeah. Well, that's an influencer.
That's when I realize I have that kind of
those people's wives, you're a bad influencer, but you know what it's
right. When I discovered if I mention a specific SKU of Xeon, and that Xeon no longer exists on the used market, like it evaporates overnight.
It's gone. Yeah.
Yeah. That's when I realized I had some power. And I promised to use my power only for good. Like, but if you're interested in good deals, like the random Xeons to buy and like the best value things, make sure you're on the Discord because they get early notice before videos go live.
Yeah.
I will tell you of the projects that I'm running beforehand. Yeah. I do have a project coming up. I got confirmation that this box is going to ship. So I have been wanting forever a bona fide, no punches pulled cloud gaming server. Like it's one of my pie in the sky things, right?
Yes, you've done several videos of building your own. Yes,
I've done 20 plus videos of experimenting and testing different graphics cards and different configurations and things like that. Company reached out and offered me an Nvidia HGX V100, which if you know, you know. But type in HGX V100.
The HGX platform, yeah.
Yeah. So this is a proprietary server platform with an NVLink backplane that links to a server motherboard that houses 8 Nvidia Tesla V100 32 gig cards. So that's on its way. Now, this isn't like a shoot from the hip, like, oh, I'm gonna go buy one of those, you know.
No, this is not a casual purchase.
This is not a casual purchase. This is still $6,000+.
Yes.
But I have this on the way. I'm going to be able to play with it. Also, you probably need 240 volts and 30 amps to run it.
Yeah.
So I already had the breaker.
Oh, you had its own breaker installed?
Well, I already have a dedicated 120 20 amp for my server rack, and then a secondary one that shares only with the freezer that's next to it. So I basically have two 20 amp circuits. I could technically run this server on those two circuits, but that is cutting it close.
Yes.
So I think instead I'm going to forward my plans with running 240 30 amp to that. Which is basically like a 60 amp 120. It nearly doubles my capacity. And puts it all on a single circuit. So yeah, I think that'll expedite that whole process. But yeah, no, I get to play with a V100 HGX system here in the next couple of weeks. So
that's gonna be fun. Now, is it just like a rental, or do you get to keep it?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I think it's here to stay.
Ooh.
Which, if it's here to stay, I may end up coloing this and opening it up for AI tasks, or maybe even some cloud gaming for the Discord community. Like, I've been looking for some value adds for the Discord for quite a while. Yeah. And I think this is one that I might be able to open up and say, hey, if you have a Discord handle, we might have an API that hooks into OpenStack that checks your Discord membership. And if you're a member of the server, you get access to the server and you can play with it.
Ooh, that would be awesome.
So yeah, I've been looking at integrating something like that for quite some time. And I think this might finally be the opportunity to do that. So, yeah. This is likely to be a colo item, yes. Yeah, I am going to test it here at the house, but long term, if it is here to stay, it's probably going to be a colo item. Unless, I start going full bore in my house and put in multiple 240 volt circuits and things like that.
Yeah. Just watch that. Your power meter spin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna set my beer aside. Okay. Did you open your new one yet?
Not yet.
Let's do it.
All right. I'm gonna do it. Got my Duff beer glass. Got my 3-way IPA. Let's give this a shot. Pretty danky, but not as danky as yours, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Yeah, few beers are.
Yes. I mean, it smells really, really good. I believe the average rating on this one is a little bit above 4. But it's fairly new, so I don't know how many check-ins there are.
Yeah, I can't imagine there's very many. So the three-way IPA, as Steve mentioned earlier, is a three-way collaboration with Fort George Brewing. That is the primary brewer out of Astoria, Oregon, and they typically partner with a couple of other Oregon brewers, or sometimes they'll go national,
Washington or something. Like that,
Washington. But they come out with a new three-way IPA every single year, and it's always a different rotating set of two other brewers that they collaborate with. This year you said it was Sun River Brewing and
Mirage
Brewing.
Yeah. It's got that that old school IPA kind of armpit dankiness. Fruity. Yeah, I love that smell.
Yeah, that 2002 IPA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exactly what it tastes like too. That's exactly what it tastes like. I miss this style of IPA. They don't come out with this very often.
No. Yeah,
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, the West Coast IPA, the Stone IPA style has kind of exceeded that old dank kind of style IPA.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this is good. If you like that old school IPA. Here we go. Big boy.
So John, was it John Jay or was it Skull? I can't remember, because I know Skull, Chicago area. I know John Jay likes to send me big beer. I can't remember who sent me this. So if it was John Jay or Skull, thank you. But this is
it was John Jay.
But this is the Revolution Brewing Rye Way to Heaven. 15%.
Yes.
Rye ale aged in rye bourbon barrels is the official description.
That's higher than most wines. That's higher than most of those canned cocktails. That's 15% beer.
Yeah.
That's no slouch. I bet you it's going to be thick and viscous too. No, it's pretty thin, huh?
It's pretty thin.
Oh.
I will say, it did what we thought your sour beer would do, and it kind of bubbled up a little bit.
Fizzed up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Skull says it was John Jay. Okay, well, thank you, John Jay. But thank you, Skull, for all the other wonderful beers you sent over. Because I was seriously looking at one of the bourbon counties tonight. Let's see, do I have a towel right here? Don't see one. Oh, wait.
That's gonna be the
Huzzah!
the only time you suck on a towel.
John Jay says the first sip says it all. So yeah, the head already evaporated. It did pour with like a decently like caramel colored head.
Yeah.
And then just gone.
Oops, gone. Yeah.
But it is like very actively bubbling.
Yeah.
So my nucleated glass is doing work, even though it's the Hops and Brews edition.
Yeah.
So I did this just to piss John off. So. Oh man. Strong barley wine vibes.
Oh, that sounds great.
Strong raisiny, malty, ESB style barley wine-ish vibes. Like all of that wrapped into a Werther's original.
Oh, that sounds
warm.
Wonderful. So this is a rye wine. Okay. It's not a barley wine, it's a rye wine.
Okay, well then I feel better about calling it barley wine then, because I'm like, it says rye ale, but okay, rye wine.
Yeah.
Softly sweet silken sipper is what it says on the side here. Yeah. All right.
Brewed with over 60% rye. Yeah. All right, I gotta find me a can of this stuff.
Have you used the F-bomb for the show yet?
I have not.
Good.
Maybe in jest.
Oh,
that good, huh?
I don't think I've ever given a beer a 5 before.
Wow.
5.
Just
5.
like that, huh?
Wow. I think I've given a ton of 4.5s.
Yeah.
5.
I have too.
5.
I don't think I've ever given a 5 before.
I have no notes.
It's just like insanely delicious,
Oh my
mind-blowing,
god.
demonetizing style beer.
Oh. Question: have we talked any tech news yet? Absolutely, we have. We talked 9060 XT for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was there. Oh my god. First off, you could tell me this was 6%.
And you wouldn't know.
I would believe you. It is so incredibly smooth. So this is, if you didn't catch it, Revolution Brewing Rye Way to Heaven, a 15% rye ale aged in rye bourbon barrels, otherwise known as a rye wine. Oh my god. I'm trying to think of the words, and I'm not coming up with any.
Dumbfounded, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh wait, now was there okay, because I think the Rye Way to Heaven has, which year is that one? Is it this year? Because there's different years.
24, I believe.
24. Because that actually might have a different rating. Yeah, that one's a 4.4.
4.4. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, where the regular one's 4.2.
Yeah. I believe that. Jeez. Wow. Yeah. See if I can.
Are you gonna be able to finish?
I think so. Well,
do you have to go to the bathroom for a little bit for a few minutes? Or need some privacy?
Yeah, I'm gonna need a minute. Wow. Okay. Velvety smooth. Velvet texture. First off. Like I said, very reminiscent of like a really strong barley wine.
Barley wine, yeah.
But you get a little bit of like raisiny, figgy kind of
smell.
Do with
a lot of bourbon
right
barrel
on the nose,
stuff,
and yeah, you get that with a lot of the bourbon barrel as well. But yeah, very strong fig, very strong raisin. I'm trying to pull the flavors out individually. There's just so many of them, and they're all amazing.
It says on Untapped it's got notes of maple, brown sugar, and candied pecans. That's what it says.
Yes. I was leaning like chocolate and brown sugar just now. Okay. Like that's what was on like the tip of my tongue. Yeah. I'll be in my bunk, Jeff internally. No, Jeff externally. I don't care who knows. I'm going to my bunk, damn it. John J says, I think I broke Jeff. Yeah.
Not good, huh?
Yes. Yeah, I've never had this visceral of a reaction to a beer before. Like, as strongly moved as I feel like I am right now. But yeah, chocolate brown sugar was kind of what I was going to use to describe it. Chocolate brown sugar on like rye toast.
On rye toast, okay.
Yeah.
So the rye is really prominent, huh?
The rye is very, very prominent. But it's not spicy. It's not that peppercorn.
Right.
It's a little of the sourdough type mash. If I had to, but it is so perfectly balanced with that malty, sweet velvet.
Oh man. And I just looked it up. They don't distribute out here in Oregon. So you're going to have to get a beer daddy out there in Chicago.
We have a few of those.
Yes, we do. I think you should be able to get those.
Yeah, I stand by it. This is my first 5.
Really?
5.0.
That good?
No notes. There is nothing, like, even on like the best pastry stout or the best Bourbon County stout or the best Mother of All Storms, I'm going maybe a bit thin. Like there's always something that I go
something just a little bit there.
That I go like, man, if it like filled the mouth out a little bit more, if it did this or if it did that, like, yeah, great beer, but 4.5.
Yeah.
No notes.
Wow. That's insane too. And at 15%, that's dangerous. It's like
I've gone down an inch already.
Drinkable candy. That's
I will take the full 6 inches. Can't wait for that to be clipped. I don't think Herd of Turtles made it to 5.0. No, Herd of Turtles was again like a 4.5, like really, really good. I love like the pecan that you get on the Herd of Turtles. Like those are always amazing. But I've had a couple where they're just like I said, like a bit too. I was literally thinking of Herd of Turtles when I was giving that. Like I've had one that was like it was so good and so sweet and so smooth, but it was a bit too thin and it was not quite the right texture to make everything just blend seamlessly.
Right.
Like, you know, there's something that just gives you like just a hair of an aftertaste that you go like, ooh, I don't like that, but I like 98% of the rest of it. 4.5.
Right.
5.
Really? 5.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing too, because like I'm looking at other years of this, and there's some are lower. I think this is the highest rated one. So even let me see. What's that 23?
Even like, and I love to review the full experience of the beer. Like I really love the way John over at Hops and Brews does beer reviews. I love that because every drink and every glass tells its own story. And so you have that flavor that tickles your tongue first, and then you have like this midsection to your flavor, and then you have it leaving, and then you have any after effects and any ghosts of whatever flavors are left, and how does it make your mouth feel when you're done? Like I love that full experience, and that's why I do this. Like that's why I enjoy this as a hobby. And I'm going through the full range of motions with this beer. And I go, on the nose, very pleasant barley wine, very, very pleasant malt, little raisin, little fig, all wonderful, all perfectly balanced. You take a sip. Oh,
snap. I did have this. I had the 2001 version.
Did you? Okay.
I had it. I guess I don't remember. I said I didn't know they sold heaven in a can.
See?
Yeah. I rated it. It's like a 4.75 is what I gave it.
You were damn close.
I was damn close.
Yeah.
I was damn close. Yeah.
But you know, it hits the tip of my tongue, and I get like, oh, brown sugar, a little chocolate, maybe like, and like I said, like a Werther's Original, like it's just wrapped in like this warm velvety cocoon, and man, if I could sit down with like a warm fire and a book and just sit there sipping like that is my night. But then the mid-range of the flavor goes, and you go, oh, I get a little bit more malt now, and it's even warmer. Like it's like a spiced cider kind of a feel, like in the mid-range of it. Not spicy, but kind of that same like warming sensation. And then after you finish, you're not left with any like lingering sour or bitter or fruity or spoiled notes. There's
satisfaction.
Nothing,
just satisfaction.
There's nothing there to diminish the rest of the experience. And so I'm digging, trying to find some reason that I can say, no, this is not a 5, because I always find something.
This is like just perfect. Yeah.
This beer is perfect.
Yeah, I think I had it. I think I had it at John's.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
I think when did you have that?
This would have been 2000. Well, let's see. It's the 2001 version.
Oh,
And
2001 version.
It's the 2001 version, but I had it in October
2021 version, or
it's the 2021.
You said 2001 version. And you said that multiple times.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Just like
2000.
What?
2021. Sorry, 2021. But I had it. I tried it in October of 22.
Yeah.
Repeat the name of the. It's Rye to Heaven.
Revolution Brewing, Rye to Heaven. Craft Computing approved. Yes. The only 5.0 ever given out by Craft Computing. Yeah. Rye to Heaven. John?
Yeah, bravo.
You broke me. You flat out broke me. Like, I was expecting really, really good. Like, I was expecting, 4.25, 4.5, like, levels of rating. That first sip literally broke my brain. I think every other beer starts at a 2 from now on. Like levels that broke my brain.
It's just ruined all other beers for you. It's like, it's not that. This is like ash in my mouth now.
John J just sent me a DM and said, I got you next time they have it. I will grab you a 4-pack.
There you go.
I will reserve. There's 4 of us. There's 4 cans.
Yep.
One to me, one to you, one to John, one to Rhett.
Yeah.
We will make that happen. John J, I need those cans. This needs to happen.
Well, there's always the 2025 version.
I'm so glad I let this warm up too.
Oh yeah, it's those type of beers have to be warmed up.
Yeah, this would not have done nearly as well poured at 40 degrees. This beer needed to be 50 plus to be enjoyed like this. So, good God. I drank like 2 inches of it.
Yeah, I'm not nearly as far as you. I've been sipping on this one. It's good, but no, I can't compete with what you got.
Novella says we need a special show with all the hosts. You still have some cave aged beers to drink. Yes, I still have some beers from Novella that are cave aged. Yeah. I think it was John and I were doing a show and we talked about a cave aged beer. And Novella managed to find them locally the next day and shipped us a 4-pack. And so that is going in the All Craft Computing hosts need to drink together collection. I think as soon as we get another Rye to Heaven 4-pack, we do an all hands show. Probably an all hands stay the night show.
Because of sleepovers.
Yeah. And I think we have some great beers. Yeah, Jeff is gobsmacked to rarity. Yeah, like at Computex, I was talking with some friends, and some friends were talking about how they really enjoy going fishing, but one of my friends really enjoys the fishing part of it. He's really good at catching fish, and his friend is really good at filleting the fish and gutting them and then frying them. And so he goes, I catch the fish, and then he fillets and he cooks them. And I said, oh, cool. So like you had a great father figure growing up. Like, that's amazing. And this is not to diminish anything. I had a great father figure too, but I love the joke of like, oh, cool. You're great at catching fish. He's good at cooking them. Me, I'm funny in small groups.
Yeah. The I drink and I know things line.
I drink and I know things. Yeah. Exactly. Love you, Dad. But, yeah. Let's see. Zeus sends over $5. And yes, Zeus, I did see your comments earlier on about where your servers get placed in the colo. I definitely need yours above mine, so if they catch fire, the flame travels up. And so my V100 isn't ruined. Yeah. That's going to need to be a necessity. Before we get to that, Michael sends over a member chat, member for 33 months. Thank you so much, Michael. Much appreciated. Mark this day on your calendar. Jeff's first 5 on Untapped. Legit.
That's right.
Legit. Yeah. My very first 5.0. We don't just give those out here on Craft Computing. Zeus sends over $5. $5 for a 5-star beer. Who's going to be Jeff's new Chicago beer daddy? John J says, Craft, you also have the D20. I do have the D20. Do you know what the D20 is, Steve?
No, I don't.
Dragon's Milk D20 edition.
Oh, do I have one of those? I think I might have one of those too, actually. Do you? But I have not. Yes, I think I do.
It is the gold-leafed D20 edition of the Dragon's Milk Stout.
I think I do. No, I don't. I'm seeing pictures of it. I don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
I do have I have a Dragon's Milk that has a gold leaf label on it. I don't believe it's the D20 though.
Yeah, that is typically the single mash. Which I have a couple of those. I've also got some of the gosh, which ones do I have right now? I have the S'mores Dragon's Milk. I have 2 of those, and then I also have 2 of, I think it's the Cookies and Cream Dragon's Milk.
The Cookies and Cream.
So my brother-in-law lives up in the Portland area, and he has been getting really into the craft beer scene as of late. It's really fun to see it. Like, oh, look, he's spreading his wings.
Yeah.
Fly, little bird, fly. And so he goes to his liquor store about once every 2 weeks or so, and I'll get a text of like 10 different beers. Like, have you tried this yet? It's like, yes, and you need to buy that one.
So wait, he's in Portland?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
And they're getting varieties of dragon milk up in Portland?
He found these Dragon's Milk up in Portland.
Oh, I'll have to find, because like even John's Marketplace never had.
Yeah.
They just had straight Dragon's Milk.
Even my local bottle shop, which is very renowned in the Valley, doesn't get all the varieties of Dragon's Milk. Yeah, no, he goes to, he's got a bottle shop up near him. I won't dox him any further than that, but Beaverton Hillsboro area.
Okay. All right.
He's got a bottle shop up there, and he managed to find, like,
I think I know.
I think
I know which bottle shop you're
there
talking
about.
There you go. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Yeah, 20% ABV for the D20. It's a 20% beer.
Well, D20, right? Makes sense.
D20, it's a 20% beer.
Oh my god. That's schnapps at that point. That's beer schnapps. It's not even.
Yep.
Oh, you had another super chat from Green Protagonist?
Oh, did I miss Green?
Yeah, you missed one.
What? Sorry, I was in the middle of a euphoria. So.
Yes, it's excusable.
Green, thank you so much. Given that Nvidia V100, are we thinking traditional Windows VMs? I'm curious about persistent modular user data for cloud instances. For the video, I will likely use a traditional Windows VM. However, for cloud gaming hosted in OpenStack, chances are I will use some Linux variety. Whether that's a Bazite, whether that's a Linux Mint, but likely using a pre-configured Sunshine as a client. And so there's a couple of companies that I know of, one of which I've worked with before doing advertising for, Maximum Settings. They use Proxmox and OpenStack and Sunshine on their on-demand VMs for gaming machines. And so your storage carries with you, but they literally build you a new VM every time you log in. And so when you log in, it transfers your game storage over and all of your save data and everything else into your user folder. But the operating system itself is built from scratch every single time. And part of that process is also Sunshine. They build the VM with Sunshine so you can connect with Moonlight or GeForce Now and play it to whatever device you want. And so I've actually wanted to talk to them for a little while about how exactly they're implementing that full thing. Now, I don't know if they'll tell me that because that's probably an industry secret.
Right.
It's probably their own code that's managing to handle all that. But I know it's possible. And it's a really, really cool way to do things. I will say, in the video that I'm doing this week. I bought a couple of AMD cards. Only one of them wound up being worth a damn, like being worth anything at all. I tested a WX5100, 8GB. Didn't like it, can't recommend. Like, even at $50, not a good value for gaming. But I also grabbed a W5500, which is basically a really, really balls to the wall RX 6400 with video encoding. Instead of 75 watt TDP, it's 105 watt TDP. So it's based on the RX 5500, which was a discrete GPU with 130 watt TDP, but with video encoding enabled. Okay. So I took that and I put it into one of my servers, and it's a single slot card. It does need ancillary power, so you do need to provide it a PCIe power plug.
Okay.
But I decided not to go with Windows on that. Instead, I went with Bazite. I installed Bazite and I installed Sunshine, and I've been hosting a Linux-based cloud gaming instance on my virtual machine server with just a direct pass-through card, and it's been pretty fantastic.
Huh.
So stay tuned for that video. All right.
Okay. Do we finally get to go into another story?
We do. I don't know how coherently I can talk about that, because remember, this is 15%.
Yes, it is. And you're halfway done with it. For your third beer, you might have to get water.
It's that good, and I guarantee I'm going to be drinking like ginger ale in the, after party. This is hitting strong, and it's hitting fast. Nvidia has some news that they don't want us talking about, probably, because it's probably an internal joke. But it did make the official Nvidia Marketplace store.
I saw this. It's funny.
Nvidia has a new graphics card. A new budget graphics card.
Oh, yeah.
In the RTX 4040. So what should be a sub $100 graphics card, or roughly a $100 graphics card if history is anything to go on. Strangely enough, this budget card still has 8GB of video memory. Now, I can't imagine a budget card not having
that, yeah.
Or having even any more than that. You know, most of the time they came with 2 or 4, even back in the day. But this one is super interesting because it's literally just a brick.
Yep, good old 3-hole brick.
This is a real image from the real Nvidia Marketplace page, depicting a product which I'm sure they didn't mean to make go live. But the Acme GeForce RTX 4040 8GB brick edition. Even their bricks come with 8GB.
Yep. Good luck installing it.
This is a real image. This is a real thing from their real product page.
They've since taken it down.
They have.
Yes, but not since it's been screenshotted. It's too late. They've seen everything.
Yeah. What this tells me, the folks at Nvidia have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
What this is going to be taking out of context for is, they think they can sell us bricks now? Well, have you seen the way you review the rest of the cards? Yeah, probably. Yeah, checks date, not April 1st. No, this aired like a day ago, like 24 hours ago is when this hit. Or no, this was like 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
I saw this afternoon.
And their stock went up. Their stock was up today, too.
New budget card.
New budget card. Stock was up.
We found a new way to market to budget gamers, and that is by selling them literal bricks with 8GB of GDDR6.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, obviously this is a placeholder. But I'm sure there's going to be some people who are deeply offended by this.
God, get a life. It's a joke.
Yeah. If anything, it proves the people over at Nvidia are at least human.
Yeah, they got a sense of humor.
So there's that.
An AI wouldn't do that.
Yeah. The boost clock and the GPU memory size or GPU memory speed, not known. They couldn't They couldn't get enough power to it to make it do anything. So I think this constitutes one CUDA core.
One CUDA core, yes.
Yes.
One square core, cubed a core.
Yeah. If I smash my 5068 gig with a brick, will it go to 16? No, but I believe you can SLI them. So yeah. There's something.
It's got 3 holes, so it's got really great cooling aspects.
That's right, yeah. Still using the flow-through design, I see.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Jay says, how could you possibly be offended by this? Have you seen the current media?
There's always somebody out
Just
there that's
saying,
like, harumph,
yeah.
harumph, I say, harumph.
Yeah. It's Big Kevin, my guy. Happy Wednesday, mates. Hello. Hello, good sir. The price of bricks has gone down. Remember all the building material shortages?
Yeah, I'm gonna go build a retaining wall with a bunch of Nvidia cards.
Yes. Make AMD pay for it. Oh man. Yeah. Maybe they make an LP single slot 4040.
You know what? I got a whole bunch of Nvidia 4040s in my backyard. I can just put up on eBay right now.
That's right. Yeah, get ahead of the trend.
Get ahead of the trend, right?
I wonder. Hold on. I got something to show everyone. Hold on.
All right. Let's see it. Oh, he left his beer there. I'm surprised he didn't take it with him.
So, as many of you may know, I run my own merch, and not only do I run my own merch store, I cut my own merch out in the garage. So we sell coasters, we sell pint glasses, we sell bottle openers, we sell all kinds of things. These coasters I'm particularly proud of. Obviously, I've got a cup ring on this one right now because I'm actively using it because it's a really good coaster. But we engrave all of these out in my garage, and all the designs are 100% original. So this is the original 2667 Xeon 2011 CPU that I started my channel with. It was the very first Xeon I ever featured on the channel. This is the backside of that Xeon that I cut individual pads for. By the way, there are 2011 pads engraved onto this. Trust me, I counted and modeled it.
Yes.
There are 2011 pads on this. And we sell these. So craftcomputing.store. I have a meme product that I've sold a couple of people on my Discord, and that is a 10-inch by 4-inch slate coaster.
Oh yes, I remember that. Yeah.
So the story behind this is Yakto, who he has an honorary button in my L cars. He likes using brand new graphics cards as coasters to taunt the peons with. And he did it so much that it became a meme on the channel. And so I made him his very own RTX. He put cereal bowls on them. So his own RTX Cereal Super. And I, again, modeled all of this after an RTX 3090, but I remodeled all of the blades and all of the pass-throughs and the fans and everything else. It's a 3-color laser cut that's made right here in my house. And you have to be part of the Craft Computing Discord server to get access to this. Should I sell an RTX 4040 brick edition?
That would be awesome.
Should I make a coaster and sell that?
Just make it look like a brick. Let's say just 4040.
Yeah. I think the answer is yes. I think by this weekend I will have an RTX 4040 brick edition on the craftcomputing.store that you can buy. I think that's how we do that. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
We're going to do
hilarious.
that. So I think on Friday, I'm going to spend part of my day Friday. I will model up an RTX 4040 brick edition coaster that you can buy. As I discussed
yeah,
at Computex this year, a meme product is still a product that you can sell.
Oh no, it's still good. I mean, you've done several meme products, but limited edition, like this one that you gave.
Yes,
the beer disc.
Yes.
Yeah,
we've done some wooden coasters. Some of my favorite coasters are the Doom floppy disks that say beer instead of Doom.
Yeah, I love that one too.
Yeah.
If you guys ever make it to like the PDX lands and the events that we go to, Jeff usually brings some swag to hand out to people who attend. So
bricked 4040 for the win. Yeah, I need to model it with the burnt connector.
Yeah.
Someone said. Beerinator's still going strong. Beerinator is still right there behind me. I do turn it off during the shows because it is a little loud.
It's loud.
But it does still work. It's still keeping most of my beer cold. So
there you go.
It only holds 8 cans, so it can only do so much. But my beer for the day, like I'll bring the beer down here and set it in there, and then when I'm ready to film, it's cold and it's ready for me. So what more could you ask for? So yeah, I think we will be doing an RTX 4040 brick edition in the craftscomputing.store. Beerinator with the BC250 below it, you noticed. So that is the ASRock Rack BC250 12 node server. It is there. It's there as ballast.
It's just to keep it down.
It's literally so I can pull the Beerinator out and not tip the rack forward. That's all it's there for. Also, even further below that is I have my Supermicro 846 chassis, which is a 24 bay NAS server.
Oh, cool.
4U giant NAS with all 24 bays filled with hard drives that I no longer use.
Oh, really? You're just sitting there doing nothing?
Just a crap ton of weight right on the front of it.
Oh, there you go. It's like anchor.
So I've got... How many? There's 24 drives. 16 of them are 4 terabytes, and another 8 are 3 terabyte drives.
Okay. Yeah. So this old smaller size.
They're all stuff I don't use anymore.
Yeah.
But that server is like 80 pounds without anything else in it.
Right. Like, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah. It ensures the rack stays in place while I pull the full Beerinator out and then open it up and get my beer out. We've been working on getting a lot of things to storage, getting a lot of the house cleaned up and whatnot. Like 5 years of running your own at-home business. Like, adds up
you
after
get all kinds of stuff. Oh, yeah.
And so a couple of months ago, I sent a whole bunch of stuff over to my storage unit. And then like a month later, I had to go get a bunch of stuff back. And my wife goes, "What are you doing with that?" And I said, "Well, I'm putting a new server rack in the office, and I needed weight for the bottom of it." So I brought back 4 servers.
I know. Me and my wife were just talking today. It's like we can't move because the collective cleanup that we have to do to get everything out of here, it's just going to take too long.
I can't even imagine at this point.
Yeah. We have to do some massive ultra spring cleaning.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much. Yeah, because it used to be my wife's office, which turned into all of my storage, all my old tech storage and stuff like that. There's just like, it's just piled of tons of stuff back there.
Yeah. In other news, Nvidia might be bringing a mythical ARM-powered APU.
Yeah.
For laptop gaming. This is actually pretty interesting. 3 terabyte Seagate equals brick. Yeah, no, there's 8 bricks at the bottom of my thing. Yeah. They are ES2 constellations. So yes, they are literally bricks. Nvidia has been rumored for a little while to be bringing an ARM-powered APU to the consumer market. And I think that's been pretty well confirmed with their Project Digits, their DGX Spark workstations. That is their little Mac Mini sized NVIDIA APU ARM powered devices. So a Grace Blackwell APU system. as well as their DGX stations, their giant $10,000, $12,000 workstations that they're coming out with. Nvidia also makes the internals for the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch 2. And so it's not like they're new to this process at all.
Right.
It's just they've never really reached to the consumer market on a consumer BYO, build your own direct kind of market. But they might be reaching out to the consumers via Alienware.
I know, isn't that a weird partner?
To market a new ARM-based APU non-x86 gaming laptop. And I'm kind of intrigued.
I know.
I've been thinking a lot lately about the progress that not only ARM has made and ARM development. So if you look at Apple and if you look at Nvidia, what they're doing with their Grace CPUs, and if you look at other Qualcomm and their Snapdragons and whatnot,
right,
they are starting to impede on some of the x86 dominance. They're not surpassing, but they're at least entering the conversation. At least Apple in some cases is surpassing. But these other players are also entering the conversation with ARM-powered devices, and they're part of the conversation. And that's never happened. Like, ARM has always been, the cute little mobile phone processors.
Yeah, you're off. Yeah, you're
that's what I put in my Raspberry Pi. That's the server that I feed my other servers.
Yeah. It's server food.
It's server food, right? Yeah. I don't eat lettuce. That's the food my food eats. Like, it's been that kind of relationship with ARM. But ARM has been very big in the data center for a number of years now. They've started to have a very big presence. Obviously, Amazon has a very big ARM presence in their hosted environments. And we're starting to see more and more consumer devices. Obviously, Apple's made some waves with ditching Intel for their M series of processors in 2020.
Yep. There you go.
Apple M4. I have two M1s and two M4s here in my house. So yeah, I'm fully on board that train. But Nvidia, not to be outdone, is also been slowly entering the ARM-powered space. Obviously, with their Grace-powered APUs that they've been mainly putting in servers. So their Grace Hopper APUs and more recently Grace Blackwell superchips. But they've been in that market for a while with the Nintendo Switch, and now obviously the Nintendo Switch 2.
Yeah.
Kind of interested to see where this goes. Not only has ARM been making waves, but Linux has been making waves as far as game compatibility goes. You can basically run Steam inside of Linux and have close to 95% game compatibility with Windows. The only exceptions are your online games that require kernel-level anti-cheat, which Linux will never play ball with, which is also extremely heavy-handed.
Right.
And, outside of those scenarios, you're probably good to go. Yeah. So what would an NVIDIA APU look like inside of an Alienware laptop?
That's going to be interesting.
It's kind of the question, right?
I mean, again, Alienware, which used to be synonymous with like high-end quality until it got bought out by Dell, and now they're kind of a joke a bit. So it's kind of an interesting person to pick to partner with, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I would be interesting to see what comes out of this. Yeah, because they don't really have anything in the article about. Oh, it says just says maybe this year, maybe.
Yeah, and I'm seeing potentially the project will emerge sometime in 2025.
Yeah.
Maybe a GDC announcement, maybe Germany in August. Like we might see some inkling. Like if there's going to be another big show that NVIDIA has a major hand in, it's probably GDC. And so maybe that's the play. Is there some kind of announcement there? But there's definitely some smoke swirling from this rumor.
Yeah.
That's more than just a, oh, Nvidia wants to get into the consumer market and they're going to launch another Jetson. No, I think, given the partners that are named specifically, I think there's actually some substance to this rumor. A new Shield V2 would be incredible. Shield V2 would be absolutely incredible. Jay says that Cheese over at Chips and Cheese has been extremely unimpressed with Grace, to be fair. Unimpressed in comparison in data center products with x86 and the incumbent. But again, there's two sides to every story and two sides to every analysis. It's also remarkable the distance that they've traveled, the headway that they've made in the ARM architecture space in a very short time, when you think that x86 started in 1972.
Yeah, I know.
So, like, so development hasn't exactly been hot and heavy for ARM for the last 70 years.
Yeah.
60 years. And so, yeah, it's a little interesting to kind of put that kind of context spin on it. Jason says he's got an M4 Mac Mini. Number of people chiming in. Circuit Rewind says typing this on an M1 right now. I literally had an M1 MacBook Pro. I bought like a week after launch in 2020. Yeah. Drove that laptop for the better part of 4.5 years. And but I bought the base model with only 8 GB of RAM. And going to Computex and being at a show that I actually need to edit video on was kind of the final nail in the coffin of like, okay, am I going to edit like these bigger, massive ProRes projects on an M1 with only 8 GB of RAM? Even though I'm not using Premiere, I'm using DaVinci Resolve. It's still very RAM efficient. Yeah. It's still running out of space. And so I went, all right, now's the time. I think I'm going to upgrade to a 16 gig M4 model. So I found an M4 MacBook Air. And along the way, I've also got an M1 Mac Mini. The M1 Mac Mini is actually running my merch store. It runs my laser cutters, as well as all my buying for logistical stuff for the merch store. That's all run on an M1 Mac Mini. And then I've also got an M4 Mac Mini right beside me right here at this other desk. So it's incredible how far ARM has come as far as being competitive in some of the x86 spaces, some of the traditional x86 spaces. Right. Like, we would never consider, if you had a 5-watt or higher processor, it ran x86 because there was no alternative. We've got 35 and 45 watt ARM processors making inroads into spaces that were never seen before.
It's starting to creep up.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So pretty impressive strides, given that ARM has really only been pushed forward in enterprise or consumer over the last 3 to 5 years. So curious to see what Nvidia does with this. Like I said, I think there's a significant amount of smoke to this rumor. I think there's more than just Nvidia might be launching a consumer-based ARM platform.
I mean, kind of makes sense, to be honest.
It kind of does. There are so many different aspects of everyday life and everyday computing that we just have a de facto winner. And so it's hard to grasp the concept of that player not being involved.
Right.
And what I mean by that is Windows still makes up 92% of the computing world. Yep. However, Linux makes up 90% of the server world.
It does.
And of both of those worlds, x86 makes up, not speaking to mobile, but speaking to like consumer and server. So speaking to your desktop, laptop, and backbone, x86 makes up 90% of that. But if you look at mobile,
It's the exact
It's
opposite.
the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Where ARM makes up 99%.
Yeah, you don't see any x86
of the mobile phone market.
Chips. Yeah.
But ARM is also starting to make headways into some x86 space that has traditionally been completely off limits to them. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how computing evolves over the next 3 to 5 years as different players and different standards are starting to come to the forefront. Obviously, the pie in the sky is device agnostic. That is, it doesn't matter what device.
Doesn't matter what you have it on. You can run whatever.
It doesn't matter what software base you're running. It doesn't matter what OS, and it doesn't matter what hardware.
Yeah.
You can run whatever you want to run. And that's the pie in the sky that so many hardware aficionados strive for.
Well, I mean, technically that's streaming stuff, VM streaming stuff. You could technically run, but I mean, you still have hardware backend somewhere,
right?
That's running.
Yeah, there's still a backend somewhere that is optimized for that process. You are correct.
Yeah. I mean, the whole idea of a thin client has been around for I don't know how long. It's been around for so long.
Let's not even get into the fact that Linux and SteamOS doesn't support Nvidia very well at all. Steam has nothing to do with the Nvidia conversation.
Yeah, that's
SteamOS, a little bit. Yeah. But that's simply because Valve themselves have developed their driver stack for SteamOS around AMD Radeon and AMD APUs because that's what they build their hardware with. And most of the industry has also circled around that because that's the hardware that you run it with. Again, talking about your de facto standards. If you run a handheld gaming PC, you're running an AMD APU these days. Yeah. Except for 10% of the market, which also has Intel.
Small marks, yeah, small
right.
Like laptops and
but it is there.
Vector stuff.
But it is there.
Yep.
Nvidia last year finally released an open source version of their driver that has been integrated into the kernel. And so we do have kernel level support, open source support for the Nvidia driver stack now. Now, the problem is we're still 20 years behind driver development and software integration on the Linux kernel when it comes to talking to that driver efficiently. But if Nvidia starts making headway into the Linux space with their Grace CPU, with other products like this, that adoption is going to be very quick, which is the same reason we got amazing adoption for Proton and Wine and DXVK when Valve assumed, I won't say an ownership role, but an invested role into making sure that those particular pieces of Linux software were successful. Yeah. If Nvidia's got a hand in this game, they're going to make sure their drivers work.
Right.
At the moment, they haven't had the incentive.
Yeah. No. I mean, yeah, like you said, it's a small fraction of the market that they are in. So why would they spend that amount of resources developing something like that? Unless they're looking to make a big move into that market, then there's some high rates of adoption. Then they'll put more development into it.
Yeah. Sorry, I had a comment and then it scrolled on me and I lost it.
Oh, and then you lost it.
Looking forward to Strix Halo. I'm looking forward to both.
Yeah, Strix Halo.
I'm absolutely looking forward to Strix Halo. From an APU, from a mobile and agile compute standpoint, doesn't matter where your RAM sits, it works for both platforms, both video and system memory. That's amazing. It gives you so much versatility in your platform. And APUs specifically have that advantage over an x86 box that's also running a PCI Express connected graphics card. You can do some really fun things with memory sharing, with direct attached storage that is very limited on bespoke hardware. But again, if Nvidia enters this space, which they've said they're going to enter this space simply by saying that Project Digits exists, we are releasing a consumer level $3,000 mini PC, APU driven by a Grace ARM CPU and a Blackwell-based GPU. We're releasing this software. We're releasing this hardware. It's going to run Linux. It's going to do this. They're entering that market. There's going to be optimizations made for that. There's going to be new drivers and it's going to become more efficient. And the same equation exists with Strix Halo, with AMD pushing their APU higher and higher.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see both. Genuinely am. Let's see. We've got more. Utran has a $3,000 add-in card that holds 28 M.2 drives at 109 gigabytes per second. 400 watts.
Yes. My God.
But up to 224 terabytes of storage in a two slot space.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
So the way this card works is it has an X16 slot, and then it also has these two fingers that come out that attach to two other X8 ports or one X16 port.
Yep.
So you're attaching a single PCI card to 32x of PCI Express expandability.
Wow, my God.
It can deliver upwards of 109 gigabytes per second.
That's just insane.
And up to 224 terabytes of storage if you fill all 28 with 8 terabyte drives or 7.68 terabyte drives.
Yeah, talk about 400 watt. Good Lord.
Yeah. This is a crazy cool card.
It is cool. I mean, to fill the full thing up, to get your full 224 terabytes of storage with an M.2, that can't be cheap. No. Especially on top of does the $3,000 card come with that many drives? I doubt it. I think it's just the card.
That's card only. $3,000 for the card.
And then
if you want a 7.68 terabyte, those start at about $600.
Yes.
If you bought them in bulk, so times 28, you're looking $16,800 plus another $3,000. You're looking 20 grand for this 2-slot card.
Yes, I know. That's insane. Cool, but a lot of money.
But also, there's a market for it. There's a market for high amounts of highly available storage.
Yeah. Very fast storage, too, at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, at any point, it can access any drive at PCI Express X4 or 5.0 X4 speeds.
Yeah.
And then collectively, 109 gigabytes per second for the whole thing.
That's just crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I didn't see this at Computex, but apparently they were showing it off. I kind of wish I would have stopped by because that would have been a hell of a thing to see.
Yeah, it's a Utran. That's right.
Yeah. 2-slot card or a new car? Yeah, would you rather have this or a slate truck?
You know what? I don't really drive much anymore, so.
You know what I do have a lot of? Linux ISOs.
That's right. There you go.
And they all need to be on NVMe.
They all do. I need every Linux distro ever.
Yep. This one I wanted to include because you're not in the gaming space, but you are in the programming development professional space.
Yes.
Man, the talking points have been fast and hard over the last 6 months about the capabilities of AI. We are literally 2 weeks away from being able to fire every 40-plus year programmer and replacing teams of hundreds with a team of 10. And the latest claim from former Google exec and current Epic Games boss Tim Sweeney is, and I quote, AI prompts will soon let a 10-person team, that is 10 people,
right,
build a game like Breath of the Wild, where AI is doing all of the dialogue and you just write character synopsis.
I don't think so.
The one step extended from this quote is, we are able, with AI, within the next 6 months, to produce the 2017 Game of the Year after year, in every single title that we produce, so long as you have 10 people on staff. And all you have to do is write a compelling story.
I don't think so. There's more to it than just that. Like all the things that I've seen. Okay, I've seen AI generate rudimentary games and stuff like that, but nothing on that level.
We wasn't it the last show you were on? We took a look at the AI flight sim.
Yes.
Okay. That's where AI is.
Yeah, it's not anything special right now. It's got a long way. It
didn't even have physics.
No. When it comes to like, images and movies, they're getting pretty good. They're getting close to some really compelling stuff. But when it comes to like development, even just in my field, because I've used AI a couple times, I've used prompts to like crank out some algorithms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff is still crap. It still does not work. I still have to go back in.
A lot of it's hot garbage.
Yeah. A lot of it's not great.
I have tried to use AI in my space. And I know that's a dirty word among content creators. I don't use it to simply like regurgitate my content.
Right.
But I have used it as a starting point. And I think that's where it's a really good thing to use right now. Right. For Computex, I had to write 4 videos, and I wanted the 4 videos to feel somewhat unique from each other. Right. And so at one point, I prompted it and said, what if I wrote a review video of this particular server in this style? What would be the synopsis for that video? What would be the talking points and the beginning, middle, end of telling a story of how this thing worked?
Right.
And it actually managed to give me a pretty okay outline. Not something that I used for a final draft, but at least like hey, you should cover specs, and then you should cover networking, and then you should cover use cases, and then you should wrap it all up.
Yeah, you have it like a launching pad to kind of give you ideas and points. And
not even a storyboard. But simply hey, make sure you cover these 4 things in this order. And I went, that's a fantastic launching point, because I'm struggling trying to tell this story right now. And so I then took that prompt and I took the response that it gave, and I went, you know what? That's a pretty solid angle to this particular coverage.
Right.
Let me write this out. Let me flesh this out, which I did myself. It didn't replace me as a writer. It didn't replace me as an influencer. It's not the AI on camera. It's not the AI saying things. It's not even the AI. 0% of the AI influence made it to the final script. But what it did give me is a starting point in which my creative juices could start to flow. And I think that's where AI is extremely powerful. At least as it sits today.
AI is a great tool. As it is right now, it's not a replacement for anybody or anything right now. It's a great tool, like you said. I mean, I could see it also being, very helpful in game development for smaller studios who can't afford, voice actors or something like that.
Totally.
As long as they write their own dialogue, they just say, "Hey, I want."
Not the voice actors don't deserve to be paid.
No, not that. But I mean,
but what if you have $3,000 for your entire voice acting budget?
Right, exactly. And you and I both have played like independent games where there's voiceover acting, and they probably got like the developer's wife to try to do it.
Oh, absolutely.
And it sounds terrible.
I played Disco Elysium.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah. So yeah, in that case, it could come out. That's a positive. But then again, it's not replacing, you know, uh, creativity on the personal level. It's just using it as a tool.
Yeah. I have also used AI generative backdrops for skits for ads. I have.
Yeah.
But was that the meat of the video, or was that the finishing touch of a video?
It's just a small detail in the back.
It's a small detail in the background, and it helped with the storytelling. It didn't help with the concept of the video. It certainly didn't act in my video. It wasn't even an animated background. They were static images that I generated. And then I told you exactly how I did it. And so, like, I get that AI can be a very powerful tool, but the tool is nothing without the human with the experience and the expertise to guide it.
Correct. Yeah.
And not only that, if the final output is the AI, the final output is still pretty much garbage.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's still hot
by
garbage.
Any standard that you measure it by. I don't know. The videos are getting pretty good. Pretty good is not great.
It's still,
pretty
I can
good.
still
It
tell.
means there's still a million tells in an 8-second video about why this is AI. There's a million things that don't make sense about the lighting, the shading, the interaction, the physics, the whatever else.
Even the really good ones, like you said, they're only like a couple seconds long.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a full length motion picture out of it.
Do me a favor. If you go onto Discord, go into Discord, go into any chat room, and click on the animated GIF. Add an animated GIF and search for an animated GIF. Type in Nvidia. The very first response that you get is Jensen eating the ass end out of a Titan card.
Yeah, I see that. There it is. It's great.
Which is totally the bed they made.
Yeah.
Okay?
He's a GPU sexual, no shame.
You can try this. You can go to Discord right now, click on the GIF button, search for GIF, and search for Nvidia. And the first thing you will get is Jensen holding up like it looks like a Titan Maxwell. So not even like a recent GPU on stage.
Yeah.
And then going,
like an older yeah,
and taking a giant bite out of the back.
It's like he's eating a hot dog, yeah.
Yeah. He's just Costco dogging that thing.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious.
It's funny. I like it.
There are so many things and so many tells with that GIF. Number one, within the first 8 frames, he no longer looks like Jensen.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vince. Vince just posted it in the Talking Heads Discord. Yeah, within 8 frames. Here, let me put this on screen so we can copy message link. Put it here.
I mean, it is pretty funny. It is pretty funny.
Hold on. Open with Firefox. Where's Firefox at? Come on. The only way I can share this is if it opens with Firefox. There we go.
Firefox. Okay.
There we go.
There you go.
If you search Nvidia under GIFs, this is the GIF that comes up.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome.
That's Jensen. That's no longer Jensen.
Yeah, it doesn't look like him anymore.
Like within 8 frames of this GIF, that is no longer Jensen.
But your brain, when you first see the image, immediately clicks. And
your brain goes, oh, that's smooth motion. Of course it's still Jensen. Yeah. It's just a weird camera angle, a weird lighting, whatever else. So he starts biting it from the very rear. And then he can't quite get a hold on it. And then he ends up biting like the corner of it. But his cheek is immediately full.
Yeah, I know. It's like he's chewing on his tongue with his tongue sticking out.
Right. Yeah. And so there are so many problems with this GIF. Also, did you notice how the round fan became a square as it finishes? Because it gets further and further away from the reference image.
Yeah.
This might be the Jedi Edition Titan Pascal is what this looks like. I think that's what that image is from. That's the Star Wars Jedi Edition of the Titan X Pascal. But like it immediately starts for like all of a sudden the PCI bracket is sticking out all the way over here. We're less than 2 seconds into this.
Yeah.
We're 14, 18 frames at max into this, and the graphics card is already unrecognizable. The color has shifted. The tone has shifted. Jensen no longer looks like Jensen.
Yeah. Again, his hand looks a little weird.
Yeah. His finger has extended out like bulbous on the end of it.
Yeah.
It's a funny image, but this is not what I would commit to a game.
No, you wouldn't do that. Yeah, you're right. It's fun. It's a good meme. It's great for cranking that stuff out.
There was there's an amazing exercise that you can do. So former band geek, former music education major in college. There's a really fun exercise that you can do. Pick a song that has 100 notes. That every instrument, every member of the band plays 100 notes or 100 beats. Okay. Tell them they can get 1% wrong, and let havoc ensue.
Oh yeah.
They can do whatever they want for 1% of the time. And if you have a 100-piece band, it's pure chaos.
Chaos, yeah. It's just gonna...
You tell them that for the count of 100 beats, you're going to be exactly with me. You're going to play exactly what's on the page, exactly as directed, exactly as everything else goes. Okay? But for one beat, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
Because no one's going to pick the exact same beat or the exact same time, and it's just going to sound like crap. Yeah.
You get a clarinet honking on its highest note for 1/100th. One clarinet.
Yeah.
For one beat, honking on its highest note for 1/100th of this thing. You have already ruined the entirety of it.
Yeah.
Have all 100 members pick their own individual frames now and ruin those one frames. You're only 1% off. You're 1% off from perfection.
Yeah. You're never going to get, not anytime soon. It is getting impressive. And like you said, fun. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do with it.
Yeah.
But they're dumping a ton of money into it too. There's so many companies just dumping a ton of money into this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, what was it? It was.
But can you have 10 programmers produce the entirety of Breath of the Wild and make a game of the year for 2017?
No. That's bullcrap. Was it?
We may be 100 years away from 10 programmers getting The Legend of Zelda produced.
Oh yeah. No, because I mean, first of all, there's some like well thought out game mechanics in there.
Yeah.
From the battle to the cooking to like all AI's not going to come up with that stuff.
No.
They're not going to come up with that stuff. They'll, and that's the thing. And that's what Nintendo is particularly good for, is coming up with new game mechanics for their games, stuff that's fun and innovative. AI can't do that. AI can only copy. They can copy what's out there.
Yep.
They can't create new things and say, oh, this is good. And they can't sit there and do it over and over again and say, oh, this is fun, I'm going to put this in there. They have no concept of what fun is.
Right.
So they would never be able to do that.
Yep.
Also, speaking of AI, this wasn't in our stack. I don't know when this happened, but it was recently. There was an AI startup called Builder.ai. Did you hear about this?
No.
Builder.ai. It was backed by Microsoft and it was valued at 1.5 billion.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out it's not really AI. There's just a team of 700 Indian engineers in the background.
I did hear about this. Yeah. 1.5 billion investment from Microsoft, which brings into question a lot of the due diligence that Microsoft put into this particular investment. Yeah, they said they basically had the programming prowess of like a full team of engineers, and all you needed to do was put in the right prompt. And it turns out there were 700 Indian developers who were writing that in the background.
Yeah.
And when it was actually found out, they declared bankruptcy. And a lot of the investors went, well, that's weird. What are you declaring bankruptcy for? Like, what could you possibly have for expenses? And they said, oh, employment was a very big piece of our expenses.
Costs, yeah,
and they went, why did you have employers? Oh, we had 700 Indian developers working for us in the background. Why did you have 700 Indian developers? Oh, because they're the ones that are actually doing the programming.
They're doing the answering the prompts.
Yeah. This dates back a couple of years to when Amazon tried to do the checkout-less stores. Just put the items in your cart and walk out the door. It turns out it wasn't AI. It was a bunch of Indians watching cameras going, oh, she just put a block of cheese in her cart.
Yeah, there you go.
The list.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Let this be a lesson. They will do anything to replace you. They will do anything to not pay you. They will do anything in their power to spend money any other way except on you.
Right. That's why there's tons of investment in AI, because they know they're hoping and praying that it's going to get there. But it's never going to get there because it's always going to be a soulless product.
10 years, they can invest 20x of the investment into AI than they do in wetware. And even if it doesn't pan out, that was a good investment. Think about that.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah. Hops and Bruises in the Talking Heads chat, at least he chimed in about 40 minutes ago. I wonder if John knows that the best beer in the world was just had in his glass.
Okay, but to be fair, when I said that I had that beer, the 2021 version of it,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was at John's house.
Okay,
I had it. So
fair.
He's had it before too. Not that particular one, but
that beer literally broke me.
There's a reason why I said it was like heaven in a can.
Yeah.
It was...
I love that you reviewed that beer from 4 years ago like that.
Yeah.
That is incredible. It makes me feel so much better about my 5 rating.
Yeah, no, I was damn close to 5. I think because like somewhere in my mind, I can't do a 5. That means it's the perfect beer.
And that's always been me as well.
That's perfect in my mind. Like a 4.75 is perfect in my mind.
And that's always been me as well. Like a 4.5 is about as close as you'll ever get. Like 4.5, yeah. I will drink this beer every day. Please tell me how I can replace my blood with it. That is that beer.
Yeah.
This beer was a 5.
Yes.
Flat out. All of their beer ruined forever. Yeah, this is a cocktail.
I know,
this is a cocktail channel now. Beer is dead to me.
Can't do it anymore.
Uber Sprite. Whoa. What beer is this? Revolution Brewing, Rye Way to Heaven.
Yeah.
If you see this on a store shelf, buy it.
It's Chicago,
Illinois.
Yeah.
Yep. Jeff is fired up. Yes. No, Jeff has just had 2 really fantastic beers back to back. One of which was 15%. Let's see. Cyberpunk 2077 has a little bit of news in that it has a sequel officially in pre-production, according to CD Projekt Red. Cyberpunk 2, working title, not official title. But team being put in place and starting to talk about what they want out of the game is totally there, which I think we probably could have assumed.
Right. Well, it had a rocky. The 2077 had a rocky bit of a start, but a lot of
Yes.
people seem to really like it. I'm actually currently playing my way through it, and it's pretty fun. So yeah, I thought that this was kind of interesting because it wasn't like a big hoopla around it. It was literally announced in a financial call.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, we're doing it.
Yeah, someone asked about the state of Cyberpunk 2077 and if you had any plans for a follow-up, and they said, as a result, Cyberpunk 2, previously known under codename Project Orion, has progressed to pre-production. That is the official quote. That is the extent of the official quote.
Yeah. So no real details behind it.
That is literally all the news we have.
Yeah, that's all they have. But it is in production right now. So.
Yes. Yeah, this could mean at this point like very early storyboards or world building. What do we want to see feature wise? Like, they're literally could be at this point literally just putting post-it notes on a whiteboard, and that counts as pre-production. So don't get your hopes up like 2026, year of Cyberpunk 2077 2. 2020-7077. There we go.
Yeah. Probably won't come out until 2077, but who knows?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But good to hear that they are at least investigating a follow-up. I loved the game. A lot of people I think are still kind of, oh, it's a tech demo at best. Like I hear that all the time, and it's like, no, Cyberpunk legitimately great single player game. Great role-playing game, great campaign.
Yeah.
Very expansive. Lots of different forks in the road and side quests that you can do. Phenomenally voice acted. Like,
there's not that many Cyberpunk games out there that are really at that level.
And just the right amount of jank of a Bethesda RPG. Like
a little bit, yeah. Just a little bit of the jank.
Just the right amount of broken crap.
Yeah.
That keeps you entertained.
Yeah. There's a reason why like all the Elder Scrolls games are fun. I mean, because they're fun in their own right, but yeah, there's that little bit of jank, a little bit of like bugs that make you go flying halfway across the map. Just kind of like, oh, that's kind of funny.
And I think that's actually part of the charm that Cyberpunk captured, that's managed to keep it as a fairly popular game. Like we were talking about SteamDB and Steam charts earlier. Like it usually floats between 20 and 35 as far as like one of the most popular games 5 years on.
Oh yeah.
So if you haven't tried it, give it a whirl.
Yeah, no, I picked it up a while ago, and I finally just a couple months. Well, I've been flopping between two different games, but yeah, Cyberpunk 2077 is the other one.
What are you playing lately?
So okay, I'm always like trying new things, trying new games. So
oh, you're playing Waifu Simulator.
Yeah, Waifu Simulator. What was it? There's that pigeon dating simulator out there. No, it's not that one.
There's another one coming out, the Date Anything Simulator.
Oh, really? You can date your toaster or whatnot? You
can date your toaster, your washer and dryer, your everything else. And they've actually got some big name characters coming into it. Really? Neil Newbaum, voice of Astarion in Baldur's Gate. He voices the washer and dryer.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
But no, what I typically do is I'll go through and I'll randomly select a game that I want to play that's got cards to collect, because then I'll sell the cards, and then when the Steam Summer Sale comes, I have like, I don't know, $15-20 I can spend on games there.
Yeah.
Whatever I want. And then if I'm playing the game and I don't like it, I'm like, oh, this game kind of sucks, I'll just let it run in the background and play a game that I want to play. It's either it will be like Cyberpunk 2077, because I'm trying to work my way through that. Also, because I never beat Final Fantasy 9, I went back and started playing that.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because like a 7 and 8 came out for the PC initially.
Yeah.
But 9 never did. It was a PlayStation exclusive when it first came out, and it came out for PC, I don't know, like maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And so I picked it up then, and I just like, you know what? I haven't played a Final Fantasy game in a long time, and I never played that one. So I went back and I started playing that. So I'm flipping between those two.
Nice.
Getting through those.
You know, it's been since it was released that I played Final Fantasy 8 and 9. Like,
really?
I know I've played 7 in the interim. And I never really got into 10, 11, 13, 13x2, 15. Like, never really, they never hooked me. You know, I was very much a Final Fantasy 2, 3, 7 fan. And I still state Final Fantasy 3 probably the best turn-based RPG that's ever existed.
Six, well, 6. 6, yeah. 3, 6, yeah. Yeah, in fact, actually, that's on my trip. That's what I played on my phone.
Nice.
So I was playing on my phone.
Yeah, it's so great. I play back through 4 and 6, 2 and 3 Japanese numbering. Or 2 and 3 US numbering, excuse me. 4 and 6 Japanese numbering. I play through those once a year. Usually around December, trending towards Christmas time. I will fire them up, and I'll fire up one version of them. Sometimes it's an SNES, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 4. Sometimes it's Final Fantasy 4. I really like the PSP anthology version of it.
Okay, yeah.
It seems to be the most well balanced, the best 2D graphics, the most expansive gameplay, and it also includes the after years. And so you can go through, you can bomb the entire game in one run, and it's native widescreen, so it plays on emulators really well on your PC and everything else. Like, it's just such a great version. And then 6, unfortunately, never has received quite the same amount of love. Although the Pixel remaster that they came out with a year and a half, 2 years ago, absolutely fantastic.
I think that's on Steam too, isn't it?
Yes,
I believe. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I haven't picked that one up myself.
Yeah,
but...
so I have the Pixel remaster on 6, and that's the version that I prefer. But yeah, no, the PSP version of Final Fantasy 4, the anthology version, chef's kiss, 10 out of 10.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. No. Yeah. So that's what I've been playing lately.
Yeah.
And I still have a huge backlog too.
Yeah, of course.
Still, it's never going away.
And then we started talking before the show about Fat Tire and Blue Moon.
Yes. Yes, we did.
And this was before we went to air, but there's actually some Blue Moon news. So you wanna finish us out with this guy?
Yeah. So I kind of thought this was funny. In fact, I was talking to my wife, and I think John even noticed this too. The huge upswing in popularity of those giant 19-ounce cans that you get at most convenience stores.
Yes.
That are decent beers. I mean, they're not going to blow you away with their IPAs, but they're pretty decent. They're high ABV, and they're only like $2-3.
Right.
Like super cheap, high ABV. It's like, hey, it's a grab and go type of a situation. Well, Blue Moon, in my opinion, one of the crappiest craft beers around. It's not even necessarily craft because I think it's by Morrison Cools. They own them. Coors owns them. They wanted to get into the game, so they decided to bump up the size. They're doing the 19 ounces too.
Yep.
And the more interesting thing, which makes me want to try it, is they're making it imperial. They're doing an imperial version of Blue Moon, 8% Blue Moon.
If I see one of these, I will be buying at least a couple.
I will try. I will. I am not like a huge Blue Moon fan.
Right.
But I want to see what an 8% Blue Moon tastes like.
Right.
Maybe it'll be better. Maybe it'll be more malty. Maybe it might have something, one of those Belgian esters that you really want.
Right. I will say, I was a little bit later in life to the craft beer game, as a beer enthusiast. In high school, I worked in grocery, and in Oregon, we have bottle return stations and at every grocery store. And so I spent, instead of my 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old self drinking beers and going to parties and things like that,
right,
I spent it inside of a grocery store cleaning out 8-month-old beer stank out of broken glass machines.
Smelly.
And
so gross.
I could not stand the smell of beer for 8 years after I turned 21. Like, it was just no. Off limits, no. I think it was maybe around... It was around the birth of my first daughter, of my oldest daughter, that I started getting into craft beer a little bit.
Yeah.
And I had like a Deschutes, like Black Butte Porter, and a couple others, and then I had a Blue Moon, and it's like, oh, that's not bad. And, you know, like, what else is this
Pretty
world?
Good, yeah.
And oh, that's not the absolute shite, you know, domestic warm lager, rancid smell of rice and rotting flesh that I thought beer smelled like.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually fairly pleasant. Like, give me more of this. And my wife informed me that she was pregnant with our first kid by buying me a 6-pack of Blue Moon. I don't remember the reasoning why, but there was something about, I don't know if we were saving money or whatever else, and she didn't want to drink. She drank a lot of ciders back in the day and didn't want to drink or anything like that. And I felt bad if I had anything in the house, so I didn't want to drink either. And I came home one day and there's a 6-pack of Blue Moon in the fridge, and the joke is that, well, I can't drink anymore, so you might as well drink with both of us, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so, my wife actually told me that she was pregnant with our first with a 6-pack of Blue Moon.
Oh, that's...
So Blue Moon, like, it's not the best craft beer, but it does hold like a small piece of my heart.
Okay, there you got like a personal story behind it.
Right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. I'm gonna go buy an Imperial Blue Moon 19.2%.
Of course, I want to see exactly what it tastes like.
Honestly, if it's even halfway decent, I'll probably have it on this show. So
there you go.
Yeah.
And if it's trying to be competitive with those other big IPAs, it's only going to be like $2.50, $3.
Yeah.
Per can.
Oh, I bet this is $2.50 all day long.
Yeah.
Steel Reserve still sucks. Steel Reserve's not craft.
Yeah, it's not craft.
Yeah.
It's good. It's the opposite of that.
Yeah. Malt liquor is the opposite of craft.
Yeah. I have had craft malt liquor before, though.
So have I.
To be fair.
Yes.
Yeah. That's not bad. Some of it's not bad.
Most of it's still pretty bad.
It's just sugary beer.
Hey, Nick from Gear Seekers is in here. Final Fantasy IX is probably one of the best Final Fantasies ever. I do agree with that. Absolutely agree with that.
I just got past the first disc.
Nice.
even though it's on Steam, you get to certain points and it says insert disc 2.
Yeah.
So it still says that.
Oh, the ports were fantastic back in the day.
Yeah.
And they'd never got any better.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then long story short, Jeff had a Ryway to heaven.
Yeah, that's right. Just ruined beer for him for the rest.
Exactly. Heineken is better. Actually, you know what's really funny? I had a Heineken on the plane on the way back from Taipei.
Not bad.
It was one of the beers that was available. And
I know I've told this story before where I've had like 10-year-old Heineken. So like a friend of ours,
I know. I had that with you.
Yeah.
He
was on a job and it was an old bar and he was tearing it down, and there was an old the bar closed down in like 1999 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I can't remember, but it was 10 years later and this keg of Heineken was still in there.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm just going to take it home. And so he took it home and recarbonated it, and we had it on tap, and it was actually really good.
Actually really good.
It was really good.
Yeah, it was a 5-gallon keg of Heineken that he brought home through a little pony CO2 on it, and it was
good.
It was actually really good.
Yeah.
Rev says 8 is the best Final Fantasy, and I will die on this hill. I thought 8 was really solid as well. I think 8 and 9 are both better than 7.
I liked 8. The part that got to me was...
But I also think 6 is better than 7.
Yeah, because like seven introduced the. Oh, I mean, I shouldn't say introduced because like 6 had the summoning where you summon the big, you know, gods and like Ifrit and Zeus and stuff like that.
4 technically had Rydia as a summoner.
That's true. That's true.
And introduced the concept of the gods of magic who allowed magic to exist within the mortal realm. Right. And then they took that to another level with 6, and they introduced the Espers, which were the beings of mythical enchantment.
Right.
And they were the ones who infused magic into the mortals.
Right.
And you could take the Esper, the spirit of one of those creatures, and learn the magical abilities from them.
And you can summon them and stuff like that.
And you could also summon them as creatures inside of battle. And so, but it started with 4. 4 is really the one that started all of the lore outside of the gameplay mechanics. Like 1, 2, 3 really established this is a white mage, this is a black mage, this is how magic exists within this universe. 4 established that they were creatures that established the magical realm that you could call on their powers. And then 6 established that they were actually beings that you could interact with and learn from.
Right. So the thing is that back then, with 4 and 6, and I think it's in 5 as well. Because I played 5 once a long time ago with an emulator that someone did an English translation of it.
Yeah.
But the animations for it were pretty quick. They were neat. They were fun, but they were very fast.
Yeah.
7 is when those animations started to get a lot more ornate.
Yeah.
And I remember like one of the end ones, you got the Knights of the Round Table or the Knights of the Round, and it was like this 30-second spell.
Oh yeah.
Like, it took forever. And then 8 came along, and I liked 8, but just about every single time you summon something, it's like another 30-second animation.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
God forbid you summon Bahamut.
Yeah, I know. They just got longer and more. It's like, yeah, okay, it was cool the first time you saw it. The
dragon comes down and perches on the stick and then breathes in. And...
Yeah. But once you saw it for like the 200th time, it's like, oh, God, get over already.
Just give me the explosion and tell me how much damage I did. Come on.
I just want the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's. I mean, I liked 8, but because it started just getting a little too silly with that type of stuff, I kind of started not liking it towards the end.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I gotta watch this animation again.
Yeah. I played so like I said, 4 and 6 definitely my favorites. Yeah. In fact, there's an original cartridge of 3 right there.
We still got 3. I wish I still had my original 3.
There you go. So, thank you, Vince, for this, by the way.
Yes, that's right. Vince gave it to you. That's right.
But yeah, no, I played the absolute crap out of my cartridges of 2 and 3. And then my dad had 7 on the PlayStation, and I never really got a good chance to play it. Long story short, sometimes people get divorced, and sometimes consoles go to certain houses.
Yes, there you go.
So, never really got to play the PlayStation all that much. And then, but Bleem was a thing.
Oh yeah, Bleem. I remember Bleem.
And so eventually I had Bleem and bought discs for Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9. And played through those on a PC.
Yeah. Oh yeah, good old Bleem.
Yes. So, but yeah, never really got into 10 or 11. Never played anything really beyond 9, and really only played 8 and 9 the 1 or 2 times through.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy them, but they're not ones that really stuck with me. And I say that about 7 as well. I think I've played 7 a couple more times through the years, but
I like 7. I
really
played that a couple times. Yeah, I played 7 a couple times, and I enjoyed 8, but I never played it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the first time I'm playing through 9, so it's pretty fun. I'm enjoying it. It gives me that old school vibe
Yeah.
of Final Fantasy. And it's got it's pretty good storyline so far. It's got the same kind of like weird Japanese writing and stuff like that kind of makes things quirky and fun. Oh man, is this gonna be a 3-hour stream?
It's coming up on it. You know, people were calling it from the very beginning. Uh-oh, Jeff's opening to 15%. It's going to be a 3-hour stream. Bleem, nostalgia mode activated. Yeah.
Oh, I know. Bleem was like, oh, well, it was most people's introduction to what emulation was.
Right.
Yeah.
I played Bleem on a 500 megahertz E-machine.
Oh God.
With, I think, an MX440.
Wow. That's going way back.
Might have been a GeForce 2, GeForce 3.
Really?
No, MX440 was too new. Yeah, it had to have been like a GeForce 2.
Yeah, when did Bleem came out 1999.
Yeah.
So
I had an E-machine that I had picked up from a secondhand store. It was a 533 megahertz. Was it a P3? I don't know. I think it was an AMD. I think it was a crap, that may have been a Duron.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. The budget AMD.
Yeah. And I want to say an 8 megabyte GeForce 2 is what I had. And yeah, I had a copy of Bleem, and where I grew up, there were a whole bunch of pawn shops that were really, really big into games. We had quite the gaming scene where I was, and you can go into any pawn shop and you could pay 50 cents on the dollar for any brand new game.
Oh yeah, most pawn shops had like all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, like new games, used games, anything you wanted. And I remember going through, and I found, I want to say I might have paid $20 for each for Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy IX.
Yeah.
And I went, you know what? That sounds like a good time. I enjoyed all the old Final Fantasies. Might as well give these a whirl. Picked up Bleem, threw it in my PC. It played perfectly, played all the way through.
I remember Bleem being solid. Like it was.
Really was.
Yeah.
It wasn't perfect, but it was solid.
No, it was solid.
And
I mean, for the time it was, because like 1999 was still, you can get, it was still like Nesticle was coming out with NES, the SNES X, 9X.
Nesticle with the cut off hand as the cursor.
Yep. Yep.
The bleeding hand.
Yeah.
ZSNES on the DOS side of things.
Yep. ZSNES. Yep.
No cache Game Boy if you had a Game Boy emulator.
I do remember that. Yeah. That was the real burgeoning time of a lot of the Nintendo emulators were coming out.
Yep. What was the Genesis emulator?
Well, because there was the Master System emulator that came out first.
Right.
I think that was it Gens, Genesis or something like that. What was it?
I think it was just Gens, GENS.
You might be right. Let me see emulator here.
There was a website that I used to get all my ROMs from called emux.com. That was the one that I always went to.
MX, yeah, I remember that one. Yes.
And went to my school and downloaded all my ROMs to floppy disk, and so I would carry like 20 floppy disks into school in my backpack, and download all the games from the school computer lab, and then take them home.
Yes. Yeah. No, I remember. I let's see. Around that time, I just started working at a job, and we went and did. I think we went to, because like PCC was local, and we like took some like because VB6 just came out.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, let's go take some VB6 classes, and the work paid for it and everything like that.
Zophers Domain still has all the emulators. Just saying. Yeah. Oh no, I still hit Zophers Domain every once in a while.
Yeah, you're right. Gens. Gens. Yes. That was the name. Yes, that was one. But yeah, no, I was there and I was like so bored in the class because like I had already messed with VB6 enough to be like I already know more than what the teacher was.
Right.
And they had at the school they had a T1 coming in. So just sitting there downloading ROMs all day while I was sitting there. Just downloading ROMs.
Yep. I had a station in the library that was that I would always go to. That was the monitor was facing the wall, and so you could go and you could just sit at the station and you could look at the rest of the room around you, which means no one's walking up behind you.
Yep.
I was real quick with the Alt Tab. I'm always writing a paper.
Oh, yeah.
I'm always working on homework, and then click. Oh no, I'm still working on the homework. Click. Eric says, I did the same as Jeff. My dad went to OIT in Klamath Falls, Oregon Institute of Technology. Nice. T3 at the college was fast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Spent a ton of time just downloading ROM. Well, and I also had a zip drive with me, so I didn't have to put on a floppy zip.
Some of the computers that we had at the school did have zip drives. Some of the Mac G3s that we had at the school had zip drives, but I only had 1.44. In fact, I had Super Disk at home. I had a LS120 Super Disk. And a couple computers that I had access to at the school also had LS120s. And so eventually I did upgrade to that.
Okay.
In fact, the iMac in our band room had an LS120 drive on it. So that later became my download station.
Oh, nice. Super Disk as well, yeah.
Yep. Oh, that's fun.
All right.
Well, cool. Yeah, I was thinking about holding out for 3 hours, but at this point, like, I think that's a pretty good show.
Yeah. We're only 10 minutes short.
Yeah.
And we got through all the news items. You're done with your beer. I'm done with my beer.
Vince says his retro rig has an LS120 and a Zip 250. Yeah, I never had a Zip 250. Yeah.
Zip 250, my goodness.
Yeah, my school had some Zip 100s in it. But the Zip 100 wasn't overly... Or the Zip 250 was never popular with the Macs, and most of the systems that we had at my school were Macs. But the LS120 was trying to be adopted by Mac because it was also backwards compatible with 1.44 floppy.
Yeah.
And so you could put whatever disk you wanted into those drives and it worked, whereas Zip was proprietary. But yeah, I had an LS120 drive at home, and yeah, we used LS120 at the school on some of the later gen machines. So, fun times.
Yeah, good old times.
Remember the 1 gigabyte Jazz drive from whatever
they
made Zip?
Yeah, they did. Zip drives made the Jazz drive, which was they had a 1 gigabit and a 2 gigabit version, but that was like
that was iOmega.
Yeah, iOmega. That was like towards the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shortly after the Jazz drives came out, they kind of
it was iOmega made Zip, and iMation made LS120.
Yeah.
Yep, Vince chimes in. iOmega. Yes, nailed it.
iOmega.
Yeah, iOmega for Zip, and Imation, IMATION, made the LS120s.
Yeah, they went away because USB drives were so cheap and easy.
Yep.
That was the rise of the USB drives coming out.
Flash storage became way more reliable than magnetic, and the rest is history.
Yep.
Yeah, CD DVD took over. That's also
that's also part of it too. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, CD DVD filled the niche between magnetic storage and flash storage.
Well, yeah, because the early DVD burners were only writable. Then they came out with the writable ones. But
same with CD. We had a CD writer that was not an RW drive.
Yeah.
For our first system, but And yeah, then there were multiple formats of CDs because you had CD plus and CD minus.
Yes.
And the minus were more compatible with your everyday systems. And so you could usually use your minus drives or your minus discs in like car stereos and CD players and crap like that. Versus the plus discs were more apt for data writing, for writing data for computers.
Yeah.
But you also needed proprietary software to be able to write the data. It wasn't a drag and drop affair. You had to set up your disk and then write the data, and it was usually a one-time write.
Yep.
But it filled the need in between LS120s and zip disks and plentiful flash storage.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it also was like in the early days, people would use it to burn their own audio CDs to play in their car, all kinds of stuff like that. I think there was the super early, when the, what was it? The Xvid codecs came out.
Mm-hmm.
And there was when DVD first came out, and there was DVD, and then there was there was a competing form factor, the Xvid.
Oh, DivX.
I can't remember. DivX, yeah, that's right. DivX, yeah, sorry. DivX, yeah, the DivX codec was part of it. And that player went away, but the DivX codec stuck around, and then that's when people were
Sorry, my dad knows why I'm laughing at DivX.
Oh, why are you laughing at? Because he bought a DivX drive?
We had a DivX player.
We had a DivX player?
We had a DivX player. So DivX, we'll end with this. DivX, if you don't know the long and sordid history of DivX, DivX was a DVD competitor, but it wasn't a DVD disc competitor. It was a DVD rental service competitor.
Yeah.
Basically what it was you bought a DivX player that also played DVDs. You could go buy DVDs from the store and play them, and they would play. DivX was also using a similar format, but they used a token system for renting the license to play the discs, which relied on a phone connection that went to the back of your player. And so you bought a Mitsubishi or a Panasonic or a Sony DivX player, and then you hooked a phone line to it. And then you would go to Circuit City or Best Buy and you'd buy a DivX disc for like $12. And the DivX disc had the same movie that the DVD drive had on it. But you would get home, and when you hit play, it would give you 72 hours to watch that disc. You could play the disc for the next 72 hours, after which it would expire. And if you wanted to play the movie again, you would put the disc back into the player and give them $5.
Yeah. After the movie you already bought.
You bought it for $12, which was half the price of a DVD. DVDs were $25.
$25, yeah, I remember.
But then you would have 72 hours to play it. But then if you wanted to watch it again, you could unlock another 72 hours for $5. For sometimes $2.99, sometimes $4.99, but somewhere in between. But we had a DivX player, and we had like 5 movies. We had City of Angels. We had Small Soldiers. I think we had Twister. And so we had like 5, 7, maybe 10 DivX discs that we bought.
Yeah.
And we watched them the one time, and then we never watched them again.
Yeah.
The reason it's funny is my dad spent like $600 on this player, and we actually ended up getting like a $200 check back from the DivX lawsuit.
Oh, really?
And so we had that whole thing. But he bought the player from Circuit City, and at one point the player died. The player would no longer read discs, and so we brought it back to Circuit City, I think within the 1 year of when we bought it, and they refused to service it. And my dad ran out of the store screaming, "I'll never buy another Panasonic piece of shit from this place ever again." One of those epic dad rants of like, I've wasted so much money and so much time, and I'll never get any of this back. Like one of those.
Yeah, but the thing is that the player was absolutely horrible. It was terrible.
Yeah.
But the software behind the compression
ended up being pretty good.
It ended up being pretty good because it opened up the whole pirating movies thing. Because before they were too big. They were just too big. You couldn't do it. This DivX was the first time where you could compress it down to a manageable size to be able to download.
So yeah, no, the DivX codec and compression algorithm that you know today and was really popular 10, 15 years ago, that's the legacy of DivX, the player.
That's the legacy of it,
Yeah.
The player was absolute hot garbage, but it did open up the movie pirating scene.
Yep.
Pretty big.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, and it was exclusive to Circuit City. Thank you, Sean, for reminding me of that. Yeah, this was a Circuit City exclusive. They lost so much money from this. So, anyway, we're 5 minutes shy of a 3-hour show.
We are. Man, this was a long one.
I think that was a good one. That was fun.
That was fun.
That was a fun show.
Now, that beer especially kind of blew your mind.
Mind officially blown.
I know. You're never going to be the same.
I was with you. I will never give a beer a 5. There's always something that can be improved.
Yeah.
No notes.
Perfect.
Nothing. No notes. Perfect.
That's awesome.
My perfect beer, Revolution Brewing Rye Way to Heaven 2024.
Gotta be the 2024 version. Yeah.
I mean, we'll see what 2025 is.
Yeah. I mean, apparently the 2021 was, I liked it too. So
you said Heaven in a Can with a 4.75. Like, that's as close as you've ever given to a 5. I think you need to reconsider.
I ain't going back. Maybe if I get another can, if someone sends me another can, I will rate it a 5, but they have to give me a can.
Yeah. So anyway.
All right.
All right. I need another drink. This has been episode 385 of Talking Heads. Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time for the latest in beer and tech news right here on YouTube. Make sure to drop this video a like, subscribe if you haven't done so already. Join the Patreon. It's the only way to get access to our exclusive Discord server where you can keep this conversation and the party going all through the week with everyone who's ever on the show. It's myself, John, Rhett, Steve, all the hosts from Talking Heads, and quite a few of the special guests that we have too. I believe Adam Patrick Murray's on there. Jordan is on there. Vince is on there from last week. All the hosts hang out there pretty much all the time. So feel free to stop on by. Chips and Cheese is over on there.
Too. Yep.
Literally posted less than an hour ago over on there. So lots of fun people. All available. Costs $1 a month. Get on it.
Super cheap.
Super cheap. But anyway, that's going to do it for this edition of the show. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always,